history is made and legends live on.
Down by 6 now, 3 seconds left. 3rd and 10 at the SMU 41-yard line. McMahon throwing for the end zone. Who has the ball? Touchdown! Touchdown! How about Barry Sanders? Touchdown! And that's number 5. Breeze lobs it for the end zone. Got him there. Touchdown! Isaac Joe. Drew Brees stuck it right in there. This one is over.
Oregon will be led today by Ontario Smith, the first Duck running back to ever be 3-time All-Pac-10. Trying to run him down. Wake Forest, Calvin Pace, already the school leader for tackles for losses. He can set the sack record today. Brand spanking new Seahawks Stadium in Seattle, Washington. It's the Seattle Bowl. Wake Forest out of the ACC, Oregon out of the Pac-10, and with that we say greetings and good afternoon from the great Northwest. I'm Steve Levy. A year ago at this time, many felt Oregon should be playing for a national championship. They finished ranked number 2 in the nation. They start this season 6-0, got as high as a number 6 ranking, but from that point on, they lost 5 of their last 6. And partner Rod Gilmore, Mike Bellotti, the head coach, says there's no way they will suffer from a letdown today.
Well, he's right. They won't. And Wake Forest, believe me, they're excited to play. You know, in bowl week, we've seen motivated teams like Tulane and Wisconsin do well. Wake Forest is motivated. They missed out on a bowl game last year, and they're playing one of the best programs in the Pac-10, a chance to knock them off and do something special for the Wake Forest program. And guess who's back for Oregon? Oh, Ontario Smith, somebody who's a special player. Now, he's got an issue with his knee. He missed a lot of the second half of the season. He needs to test it tonight. When he's in there, he helps his team. They scored 38 points a game, 25 points a game without him. And the other issue with him, NFL. If he plays well, he might decide this is it, and he's out of here.
Speaking of issues, who's going to be handing off to Ontario Smith? Let's go down to the field and Alex Flanagan.
Well, Steve, all week long, the big question for Oregon has been who will start at quarterback. Jason Fife will start, but only for the first 2 series. After that, backup freshman quarterback Kellen Clemens will come in for the next 2 series. Now, both quarterbacks are aware of this situation. They have 2 series each to prove themselves. Based on their performance after that, coaches will decide who will lead this Duck team the rest of the game, Steve.
All right, Alex, thank you. And there is Jim Grobe, the head coach of Wake Forest. Interesting for him, second season at Wake. However, in all the years of coaching for him, 8 overall, this is his first time as the head coach in a bowl game. And of course, Mike Bellotti, the head coach for Oregon, so much more experience. The Bellotti era at Oregon has been its most successful ever. Now we are set for the opening kickoff. Wake Forest won the toss. They will defer. So we'll get to see Jason Fife and that Oregon offense right away. Matt Wisnowski is set to kick it off. Justin Finisi and Alan Amundsen are back deep. And it will be Amundsen from the 10-yard line out to the 20, the 30, and a tremendous run back by Amundsen. He brings it out all the way to the 41-yard line. And there is Jason Fife, the man who was given the task of replacing Joey Harrington, a legend, of course, in Eugene and trying to move on to the National Football League, and pretty successful rookie season with the Detroit Lions.
And Steve, Jason Fife was very much like Joey Harrington the first 7 games, 15 touchdown passes, 2 picks. The last 5 games, a little bit more Barney Fife in him with the 8 interceptions and only 50% passing 1 time.
Very good. On first down and 10, they'll pitch to the left side. It's Ontario Smith. And he might have a yard on the play. Backs and receivers for Oregon. Looks something like this. Ontario Smith, he'll get the most majority of the carry. Sammy Parker and Keenan Howry, outstanding wide receivers. The offensive line, Joey Forster. He's the birthday boy. Happy birthday, Joey. He, along with Nick Stites, will be featured. Oregon always features their athletic guards, and they have them in a pair there. On 2nd down and 8, they'll try Smith again. He's out ahead of the 46-yard line. And the Wake Forest defense will look like this. There is Calvin Pace. All NFL eyes will be on him. The linebackers, Brad White, he's the guy coaches say you have to tell him exactly what you want because he'll do exactly what you say, even if you give him the wrong information. And Quentin Williams is the guy everyone is focused on. He got a lot of respect from the Oregon offensive coaches. Quick toss out to the left to Keenan Howry. And we'll see where they spot the ball. Had to get to the 49. Be very close to a first down. Darryl Shaw made the stop. Looks like they're going to be just short.
Oh, Steve, I thought he actually got across that marker. I'd be surprised if this is a 4th down because it looked to me like before he went out of bounds, he got across that line. Looks like it's going to be short, though.
The officials are from the Western Athletic Conference.
Wow.
Tough spot, huh, Rod?
Yeah, but they're not hesitating. They look like they're going to go right after it.
4th and inches. And to find out exactly how many inches, they're going to bring the chain gang out. This is an Oregon offense that was ranked 19th in the nation in scoring, averaging 33 points per game. Let's go back and see how good that or close that spot was.
Remember, the ball is what's important. The ball is in the left arm. I think that's a pretty good spot. When you actually look at it, it looks like that ball got out of bounds before he crossed that marker. Good call.
First big play of the game. Ontario Smith. I'd say he's got more than inches there. He's down to the 31-yard line before finally being dropped by Warren Braxton. Good call on 4th and inches, Rod.
Not a bad idea to give it to that guy and attack him straight ahead. And Ontario Smith, the question is, really, does he have his full health back? Well, you can't tell there. Huge hole for him to get into. But he will test his quickness today. Can he cut? Can he dart the way he normally does? That's the big issue for him.
Gain of 18 on the play. First down and 10 at the Wake 31. Fife off play action. Had the ball deflected at the line of scrimmage. And Calvin Pace was the man who had the pressure and the big hands.
Let's go back to this quarterback issue a little bit for Oregon. Jason Fife started all 12 games. And when you start 12 games, you expect to be the guy. Now, Mike Bellotti says the passing attack didn't do well the second part of the season, so it wasn't just the quarterback. It was an issue of drop passes, poor line play, and all those things. And Fife says, oh, if that's the case, how come I'm the guy on the hot seat?
All the focus, all the blame, all the credit. Of course, too much always winds up on the quarterback, and Fife has been dealing with the brunt of that. Ontario Smith was taking on some people there, and he was dealing with the brunt of Caron Bracey. Came up with a big hit.
Well, the thing that you want to know about Ontario Smith, besides the knee and his cutting, how does he hold up to the hitting? Remember, he's been out for a long time. Can he take a pounding? I mean, he's built like a tank. He's about 205 pounds on a 5'10" frame, and he can normally hang in there. He's dishing out some punishment there on that one, but he hasn't practiced live an awful lot in the last few weeks.
3rd down and 6. Out of the shotgun, here's Fife. Pressure from the backside, let it go. And well overthrew intended target, Keenan Howry, and that'll bring up 4th down. Bracey was with him the entire way.
And that is not a good throw for Jason Fife. You know, first part of the season was very accurate. He had Keenan Howry out there, and he just missed him. A little bit too pumped up.
Fourth down. Look to put some points on the board. Jared Siegel will attempt from 45 yards away. Hit 19 of 23 during the regular season. His long was 59 yards. So 45 is not a problem. Siegel punches it through. And for Jason Fife on his first possession, his first series, he leads Oregon to 3 points. The Ducks, the early lead from Seattle. Back in Seattle, the Seattle Bowl, and Fife has led the Ducks to a scoring drive for the three-point field goal. Kellen Clemens to his right is a series away from getting his crack at the Wake Forest defense. The big play, of course, the 4th and inches. Ontario Smith breaking it for 18. Here's Jared Siegel after the field goal. Puts it in the air. Chris Barclay. And it'll go out of bounds on the kickoff. And that's the reason for the flag. Again, the officials from the Western Athletic Conference. Bill Athen, the referee. Joe Kozak, the umpire.
Free kick out of bounds. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down, Wake Forest.
First down for Wake. They're led by quarterback James MacPherson. He's an Arizona native, so he's certainly familiar with the Pac-10 and well aware of what Oregon is capable of.
He's not 6'2".
Yeah, we heard he's closer to 5'11". Handed off to the first man through. It's Terrence Williams, and he has a gain of maybe 2 on the play. The backs and receivers. Ovie Mughelli is the fullback, a real standout. Fabian Davis does everything for Wake Forest, special teams, receiving, rushing, etc. Bit of a shakeup on that Wake Forest offensive line. David Walters, they start at right tackle. Tim Bennett moves to left tackle with an injury to Mark Moreau, as Moreau could play in the game. MacPherson throwing across his body and completing to Jax Landfried for a big gain of 26 yards, down to the 35-yard line.
Well, what MacPherson does so well, and we saw it on tape, is roll to his left and throw on the move. He does that as well as anybody I've seen. He likes that movement, so they do it with him early. They want to throw the ball when they want to, not when Oregon wants to dictate it.
Lofted it over the head of Stephen Moore. Out of the shotgun. MacPherson, confidence, steps up, some running room, and splits through the defense. He's inside the 25, down to the 23. As we take a look at this Oregon defense, Robbie Valenzuela gets the start up front in place of Haloti Nada, who everyone is talking about, the true freshman. We will see him. And the linebackers, David Moretti and Kevin Mitchell, arguably the 2 best defensive players for the Ducks. First down and 10 at the 23-yard line. Again, handed to the first man through. It's Mughelli, and he crashes down to about the 20-yard line. Pete Lewis made the stop.
Now, you don't think of Wake Forest as having NFL players very often. Mughelli is one of them. I mean, this is a guy that the NFL scouts look at and they go, my goodness, he is a tremendous blocker. They don't run him an awful lot, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well.
Send the man in motion out to the far side. It's Fabian Davis. Here's MacPherson handing off to Terrence Williams, and he crashes inside the 15. There's MacPherson there. He said his coaching staff raved about him, the way he takes care of the football. Interceptions are way down just 4 this season after throwing 11 a season ago.
Oh, yeah, he became much more careful with the football and much more confident in the second year of the offense.
MacPherson, option to the right, gonna keep it. 5, trying to get in, and they'll stay. He was just short. They're gonna spot it inside the 1. Kevin Mitchell got just enough to make sure it wasn't 6. Good block by Mughelli, the fullback, leading the way.
Well, and there's a little bit of option. They don't run it a lot, but MacPherson really smells the end zone here. I mean, they really run the option maybe 5 or 6 times during the day. Here, he sees it, he knows it. There's no way he's pitching that ball. And he's trying to stretch and everything to get in there.
First down and goal from inside the 1. Ovie Mughelli, touchdown, and Wake Forest takes the lead. How was that for an impressive opening drive?
Well, we talked about motivated teams in bowl games. You saw Tulane, you saw Wisconsin, you saw Mississippi. All those teams have come back and shown something against superior, or I should say favorite teams. And this front line, this is a little superiority for you. Look at that offensive line just drive the Oregon defensive line a yard back into the end zone. Mughelli goes in standing up.
Matt Wisnowski will come on to attempt the extra point. For Wake Forest, you bet they're motivated. Just their 6th bowl appearance all time. They started collegiate play in 1888.
That would be a long time, huh?
And Wake Forest doesn't look exactly organized here. The Demon Deacons forced to burn a timeout. They only had 10 men on the field for the extra point. Maybe they surprised themselves by scoring a touchdown on the opening drive. 6-3 for now. And you are back just in time for this excruciating extra point ride. That Wake was forced into taking a timeout to make sure they had the proper personnel on the field.
Hey, they don't get the bowl games too often. They weren't prepared for this extra point.
Here's Matt Wisnowski, the extra point. Boots it through at 10:26 to go here in the first. It cost them a timeout, but Wake will take that and the 7-3 lead. We'll get set to see Oregon back on offense. The first time around when Oregon went on offense, Keith Allen, the 3rd-string wide receiver, checked in. Rod, why?
Well, Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator for Oregon, told us, hey, if we're going to run the ball, we got to handle Quentin Williams. We want to send a message because we've got small receivers. What they did was they put Keith Allen in, 205-pounder, and sent him right after Williams, and boy, did he deliver a blow. Look at that. And so now Williams understands if he's going to get involved in the run game, he's going to have to worry about big receivers coming out to hit him.
Now, if you're just joining us, you know, that play only went for 2 yards, and Allen and Williams were nowhere near where the ball wound up.
Yeah.
But sending a message.
It sent the message, and then they ran Ontario Smith the rest of the drive.
Yep. And Williams clearly was a key guy that the Oregon offensive coaches are focused on, and you get the sense of that by designing that play particularly just for him. And the first play of the game.
Yeah, he's a big-time player. He loves to hit.
Wisnowski will put it in the air. 7-3 early in favor of Wake. Allen Amundsen out to the 30. And Amundsen is blasted down at the 32. Karan Bracey on the special team spot. It's a kick return of 20 yards.
Well, what do you think, Steve? You think that hit on Williams had any impact on him? I bet he's the kind of defensive back that will get right back out there, and if he sees Ontario Smith, or they call quarters coverage where he can play up close a little bit, he'll be up there looking to make a hit.
Williams leading all Demon Deacons, making his 28th consecutive start in this bowl game today. 2nd series for Fife. He's going to put it in the air, and a poor throw. Wasn't unable to step into it, and undershot Sammy Parker.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure there. He threw it off his back foot, backing away. And you want to give Sammy Parker a chance to make a play. And I got to believe, though, you know, Sammy Parker and Keenan Howery, I mean, these are 2 great receivers. They probably are a little bit frustrated second half of the season not getting the ball as much as they normally would have. Heck, they played with Joey Harrington last year.
Rod, this has to be going through Fife's mind right now, that this might be his last series, potentially, of the game, depending upon how it works out. This time, handoff to Ontario Smith. Out to the 35. It'll put Fife and the Ducks in a 3rd and long.
I think you're right. I think there's no way
nature.
Jason Fife cannot think about this. I mean, he knows that Kellen Clemens is coming in the next series. He knows he's behind 7-3. He also knows that once Clemens gets the 2 series, the coaches are going to look at it and decide who plays from there on out. I mean, it could be over for him after that.
Fife 1 of 5 so far for 4 yards. 3rd and 7. Fife out of the gun, 2 receivers to his right, single one to his left. Pressure blitz up the middle. Fife throws, intended for Parker, who went up in the air. Fife was belted, so too was Parker, and it goes as an incomplete pass. Jamie Scott came flying up the middle on a blitz.
Well, but you got to protect the quarterback, and that means you got to do something about pace. Watch him coming here. He's to the tight end side with Reister. Reister, the first guy. Then you bring the fullback over to help out too. Matt Floberg, a double team on a guy who was dealing with a broken leg, is back in the ball game, and you saw Fife is still under pressure on the other side because of the double team.
Jose Arroyo gets the punt in the air. Fabian Davis from the 17 for Wake Forest. Lots of east and west, not a whole lot of north and south. Bonnelly cuts it up to the 27-yard line. It's a 47-yard punt and a 10-yard return. This is the second annual Seattle Bowl, but the first one played here at Seahawks Stadium. The game last year was played at next door Safeco, home of the Seattle Mariners. Wake Forest and Oregon, both of these schools finished 3-5 in conference play. Neither one particularly pleased with the way they finished the season. Wake alternated wins and losses in their last 6 games, and Oregon just flat out dropped 5 of their last 6. Looking to end on a high note, or start next season, Rod, on a high note.
But both teams played without some star players in their last couple of ball games. Oregon without Harrington.
First down and 10, handed to the third man. It's Fabian Davis, the receiver, on the end around. And he's down to the 41-yard line. Wake will do anything they can to get the ball in the hands of Fabian Davis.
Well, you know something? You always see the guy running down the field with the ball, but there's always a guy who gave him a great block, and it's Mughelli. You know, you knew it would be that guy, because he is that man. There he is right there. Just watch him on his track. Watch the great block that he gets to get his guy to the outside. You lost him there, but trust me on that one.
I do trust you, Rod. Williams, the ball carrier, down to the 36. There is a flag down. That reversed to Dave, rather the end around of Davis went for 31 yards. Check the flag.
Steve, as we wait for the call here, we should point out this offense is unique.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
What Jim Grove has brought here is an offense that he had at Ohio University, and originally years ago started out as the wishbone. It is no longer an option offense. They run about a half-dozen option plays, but they will spread you out, and they want to run the ball. They don't throw it much, maybe 15 or 17 times a game.
After the penalty, it's 1st and 5. Play action doesn't fool anyone. MacPherson is dropped at the 47. Igor Olshansky came flying through. 3 sacks during the regular season, and there's a bowl sack for him.
Well, the inside of that line is pretty big, and Olshansky is 305 pounds out of St. Ignatius High School in San Francisco. They barely touched him. They looked like they were trying to set up a screen or something. He got in there in a hurry.
Igor Olshansky, born in the Ukraine. MacPherson the throw, able to hit Jax Landfried for the short gain. Aaron Gibson, the true freshman corner, made the stop.
You know, Landfried catches the ball about as well as he caught the fish the other night.
Yes, and around these parts, catching the fish might be just as important, Rod, as catching the football. 3rd down and 6. Out of the eye. Option. MacPherson going to keep it. And he is very close to first down yardage. Trying the right side. Keith Lewis, from his free safety stop, came up to make the play. And it looks like they're going to mark him short. Bring up a 4th down in inches.
You know, we talked to Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator for Oregon, and asked him about facing this offense. He said, I don't know what you call it, what you do with it, least of all what you call against these guys.
On 4th and inches, handoff to Terrence Williams, and he should have enough, push the pile for the necessary yard. And Wake Forest will hang on to the football.
You know, we asked Jim Grove about running this offense, and he said, hey, look, you know, we don't get the kind of depth and the kind of great players that other schools get. You know, we get a few. We don't get a whole bunch of them. We're a little smaller in the offensive line. We play to our strength. We have some quick guys. We have linemen who can attack you down low quickly. We do that, and that's the style of offense he has.
He said, we have to be in player development. Develop young players. They can't get the Florida State and the Clemson kids who come with the height, the weight, and the speed right away. But that was a neat point. Player development for Grove and Wake Forest. Again, across his body, able to complete to Fabian Davis, who cut it inside of the 20-yard line. First down gain of 11. Let's send it back to Reese Davis.
Steve, we may have a few people joining us right now looking for SportsCenter. If you are, it's just getting cranked up over on ESPN2. 3 coaching changes in the NFL today. Kentucky has found its new football coach. And, of course, looking ahead to the final Monday Night Football game of the season. We still got football in Seattle, right, though, Steve?
Seattle Bowl continuing on here, Reese. At the 20-yard line now. Out of this no huddle. Handed to the first man through. It's Mughelli, and he's dragging some people down to the 9-yard line, down to the field. Alex Flanagan.
Well, Steve, Oregon coaches talked to us long and hard about how their football players had to play disciplined football against this very unconventional Wake Forest offense that relies on misdirection, that fools the opposition into making the wrong reads. Now, they have said it is like any offense that they have seen all season long. Oregon coaches have emphasized the importance of reading keys. Hey, Steve and Rod, they don't know what to call their offense. Nobody seems to have a name for it, huh?
Yeah, they could use a nickname, use something, but right now it is wildly effective, Alex. Chris Davis, they're going to say he stepped out at the 6-yard line.
Well, I want to go back to what Alex said about the misdirection and the reading your keys. That is so important. For example, sometimes, most of the time, you read in an I formation, you read that fullback. You try to figure out where he's going. He will lead you to the play. In this offense, the fullback will lead you away from a play. And we saw that over and over on tape. So the Oregon players have to get used to their new keys in some instances and staying away from old keys that can cause them problems.
Handed off, the second man through. It's Terrence Williams. He's inside the 5. Reese mentioned the Seahawks. Thrilling victory yesterday, although their season is over. What's your take on this place, Seahawks Stadium, Rod?
Not bad. I kind of like this, you know. It is definitely a pro stadium. It is, you know, great seats, great facilities, wonderful turf.
Nice press box as well.
I like that.
10th play of this drive. Up and over is Williams, but did he get over the goal line? No, he didn't. Terrence Williams went up and over, but not over enough, Rod.
Oh, you might as well go for it on 4th down, and here's the reason. You know, you're close enough. He's going to wind up being so close to the end zone here. You've got a chance to back them up if you don't get this. And on top of it, Steve, you don't get to bowls very often, and you have the potential of putting a young quarterback in the end zone running the offense.
Handed off, the first man through. It's Mughelli waiting for the indication. And let's see. Oregon's defense held at the 1-inch line. Mughelli trying to crash through. What an effort by this Duck defense.
Well, I saw Haloti Nada in there along with Oshansky. That's about 600 pounds in the interior defensive line. It's hard to move those guys. You see him, there's 96 in there getting some depth, some push in there. And Keith Lewis, 16, gets in there as well. But just look at the push that Nada, 96, gets. He just reestablishes the line of scrimmage in the backfield. And a smart decision by Mike Bellotti. He does not send Kellen Clemens out to start his first drive in his own end zone.
Again, this goes against the script that Oregon had planned. Fife remains in the game, and he'll sneak it and try to buy himself some breathing room, and maybe out to the 1.5 yard line. Let's go down to Alex.
Hey, Steve, Kellen Clemens was prepared to go in. He had his helmet on. He was firing up the whole team. All of a sudden, a second before they ran in, he was told he is not going in. He ripped off his helmet, and Fife ran in for him, Steve.
Good job, Alex, down on the sideline. Clemens is the more excitable of the two. We'll see if we get a chance to see that out of him.
But you understand the decision-making process. You've had a guy who's in there who's warm. Don't bring in a quarterback who's cold and ask him to take a snap on the goal line.
And, of course, the coaching staff being able to adjust on the fly as the situation dictates. Here's Fife going to air it out down the sideline. Parker was there. Good coverage by Darryl Shaw. And Fife just missed connecting. How about the other side of it, Rod? Fife not expecting to come back out. Maybe less time to think about it as well. Might help him.
I think you're absolutely right. You know, what the heck? You know, go out there and just play. He wasn't expecting, you know, maybe a sign of confidence that they want him in there handling the ball down around the goal line. That's got to pump him up a little bit.
Plus, I'm pretty sure Oregon didn't plan on trailing 7-3. And it really could have been 14-3 if not for that Duck defense stopping Wake at the goal line on a 4th down play. Here's 3rd and 9. Fife off the play action. He'll loft one. Right side. And well overthrew his intended target, Demetrius Williams. Eric King had the coverage. Fife now 1 of 7 for 4 yards. Will put their punter in a bad spot.
Yeah. But you know, if you've watched the Oregon offense, you know that they like to do 2 receiver routes. I mean, Fife had plenty of time to attempt to get the ball down the field because he had essentially 8 men blocking for him that time. And that's typical of Oregon, particularly when they're backed up like they were down here.
Speaking of backed up, let's watch the feet for Jose Arroyo. He is pinned to that end line. Low snap, fumbles the snap, picks it up, and he's fortunate just to get it away. And it takes a bounce, and an Oregon bounce. Looked like Fabian Davis had a chance on the first hop to come up with that and didn't elect to try it.
That's why you don't let that ball roll. If you're Fabian Davis, you go stop it. Pick that thing up. Right now, Wake Forest will still have decent field position and a chance to go up bigger over Oregon.
A couple of days away from ushering in 2003 as we welcome you back to the Seattle Bowl. 1st down and 10 for Wake Forest. They'll hand it off to Chris Barclay. The true freshman is dropped for a loss by Devin Long. Hey, let's go back to that punt out of the end zone, Rod.
Yeah, a great job to get it out of there. Now, we thought on the other end that Fabian Davis might have made a mistake. Look at this. Ball caroms away from him. Actually, a smart decision by Davis not to try to go after that ball when it took a really nasty hop and just shot away from him.
And Arroyo is certainly fortunate. He'll get credit for a 57-yard punt. 2nd down and 11 after the loss. Out of the 40-yard line. Hand off to Barclay. Maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage. Chris Barclay had 8 touchdowns this season. That's 2 shy of the school freshman record set by James McDougald back in 1976. He averaged 5 yards per carry, Rod.
Yeah, you know, and they've been
true freshmen.
Yeah, running back by committee by them. Terrence Williams was not there most of the first half of the season. 2nd half stepped in, and everybody else had to step up.
Here's 3rd down and 9. MacPherson out of the gun. He's got a couple of running backs with him. Rolled to his left and then handed it off to Barclay, cutting it back across the grain. He stopped at the 50 by Keith Lewis. Another big stop by Lewis, and he'll be shy of the 1st down marker.
This is more of that misdirection that we talked about, Steve. You get people going in one direction, and watch. All the action here is going to be this way, and he's going to come back there. The Oregon defense will buy into the action initially. They see it right, they go that way. Misdirection, reading your keys, staying in your lanes, playing your coverage, playing your responsibility is what Oregon has to do.
Ryan Plaquemire is set to punt from his own 37. Keenan Howry, always dangerous. He's back at the 10 for Oregon. Plaquemire steps up into the pressure and got it off. And it will bounce out of bounds at the 15-yard line. The Seattle Bowl continuing on. And in shocking development, it's not raining right now. Enjoying the game so far. Certainly Wake Forest is, and certainly the ESPN crew has been treated. The fine hospitality here in the great Northwest. Here in Seattle. We experienced some rain and lots of coffee. Ontario Smith, the ball carrier on the far side. Under Fife, the first 3 Oregon possessions, a total of 35 yards and 3 points. Kellen Clemens checks into the football game now, Rob.
Yeah, heck of a prospect. He's a freshman quarterback, redshirt freshman. Did not get many opportunities this season, but in high school, he was special. 102 career high school touchdown passes, 37 as a high school senior.
2nd down and 5 upcoming. Kellen Clemens gonna put it in the air for the first time in the game, and he's gonna complete it down to the 33-yard line. Hit the tight end George Reister on the completion. It's a 1st down. As for the quarterback situation and the thinking with going with Fife and then Clemens, we put it to head coach Mike Bellotti.
Jason Fife has had a great year by all standards, by his statistics, by the fact that we had a winning season. Could we have been better? Yes. Was it his fault? No. But I do think that Kellen Clemens deserves an opportunity, more extended opportunity, so we're going to play them both. Jason will start, and I believe both will play well. I really believe the competition we've had the past 2.5 to 3 weeks has improved our productivity at quarterback.
That time Clemens will pitch to Ontario Smith out to the 38. Quentin Williams, his first tackle of the game. And certainly that throw by Clemens has to give him some confidence.
I think so. Remember back when he opened the second half against Washington. He came in, first pass was called, was a deep out route. He got picked off, and it changed the complexion of that ball game. Kind of hurt his confidence. He told us that the other day. Well, he comes out, throws a corner route to the tight end here, lays it right on the money. He got pretty pumped up, and he told us he's a pretty demonstrative guy.
That'll do it. Quarter number one comes to an end of the second annual Seattle Bowl, and it does so with Wake Forest out in front, 7-3. Steve Levy, Rod Gilmore, Alex Flanagan, and our outstanding crew from Seattle. And apparently, yes, this will get you on ESPN. And the Deacons are just doing fine as we open up quarter number two. Wake Forest with a 7-3 lead. Kellen Clemens will hand off to Ontario Smith. He's got a couple. Jamie Scott made the stop. Wake Forest last possession, their first 3 and out. The first 2 were pretty good, Rod.
Well, 2 big drives, only 1 touchdown, but it was MacPherson who got things going. A little bit of option, almost got into the end zone. They did a lot of nice things. They used their big fullback, Mughelli, to get in there for their 1 score. They threw the ball to Davis when they had to, when they wanted to, picking up some yardage. Then they got stuffed the last time, and they didn't get into the end zone, even though they had a tremendous drive.
7-3, Wake Forest. Here's 3rd down and 7. Clemens in a pressure spot, the throw, and he sailed it on Jason Willis, and that'll bring up a 4th down situation. Brad White was coming on the blitz.
Well, Steve, I'll tell you one thing about Kellen Clemens. He's got a good arm. You know, that ball comes off nice, just a little bit inaccurate there. Pretty pumped up, too much to the sideline, but he's got a strong arm. Pretty good release.
Oregon now 0 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. They converted 36% of the time during the regular season. Jose Arroyo is at the 22. Fabian Davis is back deep. Again, pressure. Arroyo gets it away. Davis backtracking at the 11. And now he'll try to show you some of his stuff. He pushes it out to the 23-yard line.
Well, Steve, going back to what Wake has done when they've had the ball the first 3 times, started off pretty well. They got a touchdown on a 65-yard drive, and then that 72-yard drive needed to go another couple of inches, and they would have had another touchdown. Didn't get it, and then their first 3 and out when they started in good field position on their own 41. They've moved the ball against this Oregon defense.
Rod, are you shocked right now this is a 7-3 game early second quarter?
I'm surprised they've been able to throw the ball as well as they have.
Hand it to the 3rd man around. That is Fabian Davis. You'll see Davis all over the field for Wake Forest. He is the only player in the country over 300 yards of offense in 4 different categories. We're talking receiving and rushing, kick return, and punt return as well. This is a well-rounded young football player.
He is so important that Oregon has put a spy on him because he runs that fly sweep or that orbit sweep.
Here's MacPherson. Steps up. He was pounded as he released, and just too far for Davis, who sold out to try to make that catch. Gave you the A effort, but couldn't bring it down. Darrell Wright was coming to pressure on MacPherson.
Well, timing was just a little bit off on this route, but Davis is the guy. He's their playmaker. He's the difference maker on offense. He's running free here. He got inside the corner. Aaron Gibson, chance to make a play. Just a little bit long.
So far, Davis has a 10-yard punt return, 35 yards on reverses, and 11 yards receiving. MacPherson again throwing across his body, and it's Fabian Davis on the catch, the 39.
And it's the 2nd time, Steve, we've seen him do that when he rolls to his left and throws across his body. We saw it on tape, and we were like, wow, how can he do that? And he's done it twice in this ball game.
Rod, you always hear how that's the toughest throw for a quarterback. MacPherson makes it look easy.
Yeah, he loves it. He gets it right on the money there.
Gain
Nice
of
job by
16 on the play. And off. Try on the left side is Terrence Williams. You know, you mentioned how surprised you are that Wake's ability to throw the ball against Oregon. The Ducks' pass defense was flat out horrendous during the regular season. 115th in the nation, the Oregon defense against the pass. Only 117 schools out there.
Yeah, not real good. But that Oregon defense faced some pretty good quarterbacks down the stretch, but they did suffer.
MacPherson off play action. Down the middle of the field. Got a man. It's caught. Jason Anderson. Touchdown. Make it 34 touchdown passes allowed this season by the Oregon defense. He beat Aaron Gibson, the true freshman cornerback. 57 yards and the score.
And you say, how can that be? How can it be 34 touchdown passes against one of the top programs out of the Pac-10? Well, their corners play a lot of man-to-man. They commit to stopping the run. And when you're a young cornerback, a freshman like Gibson, you're going to take your lumps.
Troy Calhoun and Jim Grobe and the Wake Forest coaches, good job adjusting. They run the ball. That's their strength, but that's Oregon's defensive strength is stopping the run. So they shake it up with the pass game. Matt Wisnowski puts through the extra point.
It's not even close. He gets by him so easily. If Wake Forest can do that, Oregon's going to have a long day. We'll be back. Back in Seattle, let's go back to the touchdown catch by Jason Anderson. There's the single coverage we talked about. Aaron Gibson, there'll be good protection, but watch up here. That's press coverage. Gibson does not handle Anderson. There is no help. He's got to deal with him. He doesn't get a good bump on him. Anderson works outside and gets back inside. All MacPherson has to do, Steve, is lay it out there for him and let him run underneath it, and he does. Perfect execution by Wake Forest.
Jason Anderson led the team in Deacons with 4 touchdown catches during the regular season, including a team-high 70-yard touchdown pass in the game against Navy. Coaching staff told us he has as much potential as any wide receiver on the team, and came up with a 57-yard catch on the perfect ball thrown by MacPherson. Short kick out to the 32-yard line, and that's where Oregon will take over.
Can you believe MacPherson was not recruited heavily out of high school? Amazing.
MacPherson so far 5 of 6, 117 yards, and 1 touchdown. This is a guy who only attempted 207 passes during the regular season, Rod. What was it average? 17, 18 throws a game.
Hey, he may throw his game high in this ball game.
Oregon only 2 first downs to this point. And on 1st down and 10, second series for Kellen Clemens. Under pressure from Pace, gets it away to Ontario Smith, but maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Brad White had the stop on Smith.
Ontario Smith is obviously a key to this offense, and you can run it with him, you can throw it to him. And that's the thing that makes him also a real NFL prospect. And yeah, you know he's thinking about the knee a little bit. He told us when we talked to us, he doesn't try to think about it much, but you know, hey, he hasn't been hurt that badly in his life, and to have his knee makes him think.
2nd down and 10. Here's Smith again. And Smith rumbles down to the 35. Darryl Shaw brought him down, but not until he was already into the secondary. Ontario Smith so far, Rod, 9 carries for 46 yards.
Yeah, that's part of it's good. The part that's not so good is I have not seen the stop-start darting from him that you normally see. I think he's about 85%. He said 90. Mike Bellotti said 95. I don't think it's that high because I don't see the darts from him right now.
Total yardage to this point, it's all Wake Forest. Clemens gonna step up. Looked like a mini option to start, and he hung on to it. He's out to the 48-yard line. Shaw and Williams finally brought him down.
And you're right, there was some option, a little counter speed option there. They bring it back this way toward the sideline, and Clemens runs a little bit effective here. You know, comes back the wrong way as far as the defense is concerned, cuts back inside. He had Smith out there. where he could have pitched it to him, but he saw the crease inside and cut it back up.
You know, I love when you say that.
Speed option?
No, you're right. That usually means I was in the neighborhood. I was in the ballpark. That's Oregon's first third down conversion. It goes for 12 yards. Send the man in motion. They fake it to Willis. Actually give it to Willis. Faked it to the first man through, and the wide receiver trying to cut it upfield across midfield. Karan Bracey made the tackle.
Well, this will put Oregon in a 2nd and short, and they normally don't have a lot of tendencies, but in 2nd and short, they tend to be a team that runs to the outside or they go for the big play. That's what you see when you break down the film on Oregon.
Dean Hood, the defensive coordinator for Wake, about those tendencies. He said, I've never seen so many different plays by Oregon used only once. Here's play action. Clemens had all sorts of time. Lets it go now. And he overthrew the receiver, Parker, but he took a big-time shot there. Good pressure by Roderick Stephen.
Yeah, and they went for broke on that one, Clemens did. And again, he has fared pretty well, a little bit better than Fife so far. 2 out of 4. 14 yards, and then he was tough running the ball. Fife, only 1 completion. They both have been inaccurate on the deep ball, though. You know, and again, we talked about that 2nd and short tendencies, and you were talking about that. We know on first down, Oregon, you can't find the tendency on them. I mean, they will come out in any formation. They will throw anything at you. It's 2nd down and short and 3rd and short where you start to find some tendencies in what they do offensively.
And Clemens will take a timeout prior to the 3rd and 1. And we'll come back for a 3rd down. 10 minutes left here in the first half. Wake Forest by 11. Plenty of competition between these two schools upon arriving here in Seattle. Jax Landfried able to make the catch. Zach Jamard of Oregon could not hang on, Rod. What do you think of the hands of the backup quarterback, Corey Randolph?
Quarterback's good to catch it.
And Wake Forest victorious in the all-important fish toss. And you saw Fabian Davis, the good hands as well.
And nobody had gloves on trying to catch the fish.
No.
It's a hands thing.
You know, you wouldn't think it's that difficult, but apparently it is, right? Handoff Ontario Smith. He's dropped by Brad White. And that was the big 3rd down play, and it'll bring up a 4th and short. No, actually, let's see where they spot it. Going to be just shy of the marker. It is 4th down. We've had a lot of 4th down situations early on in this game, Rob.
Yeah, and they're being footloose and fancy-free about it. Oregon going for it once again.
How about this? 4th and 1 near midfield. Handed off. And Ontario Smith has it for the 1st down. And look how fired up Kellen Clemens is. You can see he's head slapping everybody on the team. Certainly exuberant. We asked Kellen, we were kind of kidding with him, hey, Kellen, about that first name. You weren't named after Kellen Winslow by any chance. And he said, yeah, I was. How about surprising that was?
I was shocked. I thought it was just a coincidence.
So, folks, big fans of pass-catching tight ends.
He's a quarterback, though. How'd that happen?
Well, that young, probably. They don't realize, Rod, he's going to be on the birth certificate. Thought he was going to be a tight end. Here's play action from Clemens. All sorts of running room in front of him. Now he dances a little bit, but he's pounded out of bounds at the 40 by Karan Bracey. Let's go down to the field, and here's Alex.
Hey, Steve, I've been watching Kellen kind of before he went in and when the defense is on the field. He has so much confidence already about him. You know, he said that he needed to stay calm, that he needed to have fun. It appears that he's doing that. Before he was sent into the game, he kind of rallied up his players around him, took complete charge, and then a lot of people came over, gave him high fives. Ontario Smith came over, gave him a high five and a hug, and he told us yesterday that that was very important to have his teammates supporting him. Steve?
Alex, Clemens got in only 4 regular season games, threw only 9 passes total, and his skills are on display here this afternoon. Ontario Smith slashing his way to the 31. It's a gain of 9.
And Steve, I don't know how effective Calvin Pace is going to be in this ball game. And he's out there in that left end spot, and he doesn't have full speed. He told us he thought he was running with a little bit of a hitch in his stride, and I think he clearly is. I think his presence is warranted. They need him out there. This is a guy who's likely to be a late first round or a second round pick. He's got all the skills, all the tools. He can play the run, and he can get after the quarterback.
Said he certainly pictures himself in the NFL, just can't place himself in a particular team uniform. Here's the pressure from the backside. Clemens didn't feel it coming, and he's dropped by Kellen Brantley on the sack.
Now, the thing that pace can do for you is free up other guys. They wind up paying attention and doubling him, and that frees up other people to get in and make plays.
Brantley, the junior from Miami, one of the real emotional players, really consistent, the top returning tackler from a season ago.
Well, there you see a couple of guys paying attention to pace to the right side, and that allowed Brantley to come in from the opposite side.
2nd down and 16. We'll keep an eye on pace here as well. Quick drop. Fight the throw to Sammy Parker. He's spun around and dropped down at the 31 by Darryl Shaw. Bring up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, Steve, I'm a big believer that when you play the Oregon offense, you have to control their tight end in order to win. And I think Wake Forest has done a good job of that. I mean, Reister is a guy who's an effective blocker, and he also can get down the field. He has 36 catches this season. If you can control him in blocking and control him in routes, then you got a chance to handle the Oregon offense. If you don't, forget about it.
3rd down conversions, not a strong area for either school so far to this day. Quick throw, able to complete to Jason Willis, but he's going to be short of the marker. Looks like he'll come up maybe a yard short, Rod. Karan Bracey, who's having himself a ball game already for Wake.
And Mike Bellotti is going to go after this. And I think Bellotti is trying to send a message to his team that he wants them to compete a little harder. And it's just not at the quarterback spot. I think he's trying to tell everybody, we've raised the bar at Oregon. 7-5 is not acceptable. You got to do better than that, and if you're not willing to raise your level of performance, we'll find somebody else. And he's challenging his team in this bowl game, I believe.
There you see the conversion rate. Fife is back in place of Clemens. Was going to be the quarterback draw, and Fife's not going to get there. He is rocked first by Karan Bracey, and then he got some support from his teammates. So that 4th down conversion fails. And Wake will take over on downs.
Well, it's been all about that defense getting a nice job. Brantley this time on a big 4th down, steps up, controlling the Oregon line. Big hit. Gotta like the way that is if you're a Demon Deacon fan. And we'll be back.
Oh, what else but the Seattle Bowl? Oregon had a 13-play drive resulting in 0 points. They turn it over on downs, and Wake Forest will take over. Send Davis in motion, gonna hand it to him on the reverse. Fabian Davis with running room, cuts it outside. He's finally knocked down at the 41-yard line by Keith Lewis. Coming into this game, the Oregon, especially defensive players, were really excited. They play in the pass-happy Pac-10, fired up. They're gonna see a running team like Wake Forest. So what are the Demon Deacons? And they've come out firing the football, Rod.
They watch the tape. They know their freshman corners over there. So what they do, they come out bombing, throwing the ball, and then that opens up the running game. And you're starting to see that fly sweep with Davis. That was the one running play that Oregon was incredibly worried about.
Again, any way they can get the football into the hands of that man, Fabian Davis, that's what they want to do. Williams, the ball carry, and he's sent flying back. Garrett Graham led the way for that Oregon defense. You can hear whistle after whistle after whistle after the play had already finished.
You wonder about the psyche of Oregon. It's a team that had a disappointing season. They were 6-0 at one point. Expected to contend for the national championship. They're 7-5, and they're down to a Wake Forest team that they were heavily favored against. Do they rise to the occasion, or do they just kind of go through the motions? And I think Bellotti is going to continue to challenge these guys to raise the bar.
There's going to be a penalty against Wake Forest. Illegal substitution. Wake had some problems earlier. Remember trying to get set just for the extra point on their opening touchdown drive.
What a job Jim Grube has done preparing his team for their first bowl game under his regime.
Here's MacPherson rolling to his right, throwing down the field, underthrew it, and it's perfect to Jason Anderson. Good job by Anderson to come back and bail out his quarterback, Rod.
Well, Anderson was covered by Steve Moore. He was absolutely covered. And then MacPherson just does a really nice job of taking a chance. He throws the ball up because he figured that his guy, Anderson, would come back for it. Now watch, right about here, he sees that he's covered, but he throws it anyway. And what does Anderson do? He just pushes Moore out of the way and comes back to catch the ball.
Jason Anderson only healthy for the final 4 games of this season. He's been plagued by a shoulder injury this season. So far, Anderson has 2 catches for 94 yards and the score. Fabian Davis again on that end around. He's able to turn the corner. He's blasted out of bounds at about the 19 by Keith Lewis, but he has first down yardage.
And that fly sweep, they call it the orbit sweep. It was something that Steve Spurrier used with his guys, called it a fly sweep. It's orbit sweep here. When you run it down around the goal line, you get a lot of man coverage. So it's an easier job to run it here. You don't have to worry about somebody simply stepping up and making a tackle. You run other guys off, he comes around.
Had some help from Mughelli, as usual, on a pretty good lead block. This time, straight handoff. Terrence Williams changing it up just a little bit. And you can see, Rod, looks to me anyway, that the Oregon defense is kind of guessing, a little tentative, which is exactly what Wake wants them to do, or be.
Well, you know, they attack them outside, and then they pound them inside. And it's wonderful. I mean, you look at this. Now, this is after the fly sweep. Mughelli comes up the middle, bam! Gets a great big block on Garrett Graham, the outside linebacker. Now they're pounding you inside after working you outside.
On 2nd down and 4. Handed to the first man through. It is the fullback, Mughelli. On another carry, David Moretti made the stop. Mughelli last year had 0 carries. In the entire regular season, Mughelli had 0 carries. He got 72 carries during the regular season, 11 touchdowns. 7th best in school history today. He's already carried it 5 times. But again, not a single carry last season, Rod. 3rd and 2. Out of the eye. And now MacPherson will change the play at the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 2 at the 11 of the Ducks. Option, flip it out to the right to Terrence Williams. Turns the corner, and he is belted out of bounds at the 3. Stephen Moore put a good lick on him there.
And that time, I thought Terrence Williams got a little bit ahead of Mughelli. He should have allowed Mughelli to give him the block. He had it set up, but he didn't use his blocker, and instead took a big shot from Stephen Moore. Listen to this hit at the end of this thing.
Oh. And then Moore stands over him. 1st and goal, Terrence Williams to the goal line, but not across it. Kevin Mitchell, another big stop for the junior from Orange, California.
Okay, now Terrence Williams is a nice back, but he's only 175 pounds. And you're slamming him up in there right now. Now, you got a big guy. You got Mughelli, who's 250, who's going to be in the NFL next year. Maybe, just maybe, Steve, you let him take on one of those linebackers inside here. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea. Mughelli did score the first touchdown, but was stopped at the goal line last time around. MacPherson, the keeper, did he get there? There's the signal, touchdown. James MacPherson, a Wake Forest, the quarterback keeper. And Wake Forest is doing a number on Oregon. And that number right now is 20-3.
Heck, when your offensive line is getting a charge the way Wake Forest is, you don't need a 250-pound fullback. Just let the quarterback get in right behind him. But how about Mughelli? He will get involved anyway and get a little push there.
And Mike Bellotti can enjoy what he has seen so far. Still a lot of football time left as Wisnowski comes on to pump the extra point through. 2:40 to play here in the first half. Wake Forest all over the Mighty Ducks of Oregon. It's 21-3.
Well, Ontario Smith is not only dealing with a sore knee, now he has to contend with an eye that is almost swollen shut. You can see that he's icing it. His own helmet slid down, cut his eye. He will play, but it may be closed, Steve.
Wow, that's, cut me, Mick, from Rocky. I mean, that's That's what that looks like. Ontario Smith, as if it's not bad enough, with the score being 21-3. Now Ontario Smith can hardly see out of one eye, Rob.
And remember, when Ontario Smith is in the game, they can score. They're about 38 points a game. Without him, they're about 25 points a game.
Good job by Alex. You just assume he took a finger to the eye, but as Alex reports, it was his own helmet sliding down. Justin Finisi on the return. Out to the 40-yard line, and with that, eyes wide open. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Steve, coming up at halftime, Minnesota went down to the Music City and hit all the right notes against Arkansas. We'll talk about it at the half, and it is finally game week for the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. We'll take you out to Tempe and also give you a peek at the Peach Bowl. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, one of the better matchups we have in Capital One Bowl week. See you in a bit.
All right, Reese, we look forward to that. Reese, Trev, and Mark all coming up at halftime. In a football game, there's 2.5 left in the first half. First down and 10 for the Ducks of Oregon. Kellen Clemens will get a third series. And here it is. Clemens, the pump on the checkoff down low to Matt Floberg. The fullback carries across midfield and into Demon Deacon territory. 15-yard gain.
And you were right again. He checked off again. Went down low looking for Floberg because Reister was the guy he wanted down the field. It's a smart decision by him to come off of Reister and drop the ball lower to the fullback.
You know, Rod, even by osmosis, hanging around with you for a whole football season, I'm bound to pick up a couple of things.
Now, if I could just learn some hockey.
We'll work on that. 2003. Here's Clemens rolling to his right, throwing on the run and completing to Keenan Howry, and he's out to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 6 on the play.
Well, this is something that Clemens hasn't done in a couple of years. A hurry-up offense, 2-minute drill.
That's the second catch of the game for Keenan Howry. He is the school career leader in receptions, and he's working on a couple other records today. They'll shoot for as the game progresses. Again, the underneath pass. That time it's the tight end George Reister. Karan Bracy, another tackle for Wake Forest.
Well, that'll bring up a third down. A timeout by Oregon here. 2-minute drill. How about the young quarterback? Can he get it done? We'll be back.
Rod's limousine was broken, so we were forced to take the train to Seahawks Stadium. So we close out the first half.
Had my own driver, huh?
You had one of those hats on. Choo choo.
I have one of those. Yeah, it's my own hat.
Yes, you do. Rod's sporting mittens, folks, right now. That should give you an idea of the temperature here in Seattle. Here's Clemens. And it's still Clemens. And he'll be tripped up at the 30-yard line. Quentin Williams wrapped him up. It's a gain of 6. Clemens during the drive, for the game so far, 7 of 9 for 54 yards.
And I like his presence. You know, he jumped up quickly, got to the line of scrimmage, encouraging his other teammates to get there. He knows what's going on around him right now. Good composure, good presence.
And Ontario Smith has not played this series. Final 50 seconds of the first half. Clemens for Reister. And he's bumped out inside the 25, stops the clock with 46 seconds left. Kellen Brantley made the tackle. The Ducks have 1 timeout left in the half.
Well, Steve, we talked about Calvin Pace and that leg and how much a problem. There he is right there in the middle. You'll see him. He's not getting much going. Watch him run. He's really, that's the hitch he was talking about. And if you're going to have him in the second half, maybe you even get him out here and let him have a little extended halftime rest. It's amazing he's even trying to play with a broken fibula, or healing from that anyway.
And with a 21-3 lead. Here's Clemens rolling to his right and throwing. It's Howry down to the 7-yard line. It's his 3rd catch of the game. Warren Braxton bumped him out.
I think Mike Belotti's going to have an interesting issue in the second half. This guy is starting to make some throws. He's starting to get some confidence. Watch him here. Moving, on the move. Nice bullet. Right there to Keenan Howry. This is a big-time throw when you can move to the right like that and throw that long out.
Good cut by Howery as well. Clemens 5 of 5 on this drive alone. And I got a feeling Fife is well aware of Clemens' statistics to this point. Option. Smith checks in, and then he is flipped on the play by Eric King from his cornerback spot and drops him around the 5, and Oregon will spend their last time
What's
out.
Eric King doing? He's a cover corner. Cover corners don't hit like that.
Coming up to make a tackle, Rod, just the way you used to. 30 seconds left in this half. Giving you too much credit there?
Covered corners, we cover.
Like Dion? Great college football continues on as Capital One Bowl Week will feature these 3 games tomorrow on ESPN. And each one of them will feature a ranked team. 15th ranked Boise State, 21st ranked Colorado State, and the Terps of Maryland, number 18 in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Well, they'll take on the Vols of Tennessee. Kind of strange to see no number in front of Tennessee there.
I know, and nice to see the number in front of Boise State.
Yep.
That is a team worth watching. If you have not seen those guys, that's a good football team.
And so much more than just the blue turf, which is kind of gimmicky, kind of what they're known for and everything.
Brock Forsey.
Absolutely.
You know, that alone is enough.
What a season, and congratulations to the folks at Boise State.
And Dan Hawkins, you know, the head coach there, one of the true young masterminds in the game. A lot of folks looking at him, trying to steal him away from Boise State. He said, I'm going to stick around a while.
Final half minute of this first half. Oregon cannot stop the clock again. Ontario Smith now out of the game. This is 2nd down and goal from the 7-yard line. Ducks desperately need a score to take with them into the locker room. Here's Clemens. The throw, it is caught. Touchdown. The junior, Sammy Parker. And that's 6. And a strong, strong throw by Kellen Clemens. For Clemens, his 2nd touchdown pass of the season.
And Fife comes on the field to hold for the point after attempt here. And he's got to be thinking, so far, Clemens has outplayed me.
And that'll be interesting, Rod. These are college kids. Let's watch the hold here on the extra point. Here's a good look at Fife.
Yeah, did you see the pat on the head by Siegel? Patted Fife.
Snap and the hold are perfect. So too is Jared Siegel. 26 seconds to play in the half. Clemens goes 6 of 6 for 57 yards to the score on that drive, Rod.
There's not much room for error here. Clemens has got to stick this thing in there in a hurry because there's a corner lined up, man coverage coming inside. He throws a bullet. If he had taken anything off that ball, that is a pick 6 the other way.
And he showed you a little poise there, Rod. He wasn't looking that way the whole time. Gave you a little glance to the right before throwing to his left.
Yeah, he came with it. Now we're starting to see a little bit of what the Oregon Ducks, and Mike Bellotti in particular, have been seeing in practice from this guy all season long.
The coaches, really both quarterbacks, told us they're excited about the competition that'll take place prior to next season. A competition that has really played out over the last month or 5 weeks of the regular season here into the bowl season. 26 seconds left in the first half, and it's an 11-point game.
And there's Jason Fife, the man who started all 12 games for the Ducks this season.
Jared Siegel to put it in the air. Fabian Davis from the 12. And right into the Duck special teams to the 22-yard line. Ramon Reed was the first man there for Oregon.
I think Kellen Winslow Sr. would be proud of his namesake. Kellen Clemens on this 2-minute drive. He takes the ball up the field, picking up a first down. Good composure, pocket presence, knows when to get out of bounds, when to get up and get back to the line of scrimmage, and then makes the touchdown throw, a bullet to Sammy Parker, and he got his Ducks right back in this ball game.
Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator for Oregon, said when Clemens goes in there, something exciting will happen. Didn't necessarily know it would be good or bad, but it would be exciting, and so far it's been good for Oregon when he's been in there. Barclay is the ball carrier for Wake Forest. Stopped by Moretti and some extracurricular after the play, but no flags and no more plays. That'll do it. First half is complete of the second Seattle Bowl, the first from Seahawks Stadium. And at halftime, Wake Forest will take a 21-10 lead with them over Oregon into the locker room. 21-10 is the score at the half. We'll see you for the second half. But first, take a look at Reese Davis.
Steve, thank you very much. Wake Forest able to do what several teams haven't been able to in the bowl season so far, and that's establish their running game. Trev, you were a little bit surprised that they were able to do this. On the other hand, the Pac-10 is in danger. Anyway, they still have a football to be played. They're in danger of falling to 1-3 in the postseason.
I've been really impressed with Wake Forest. I mean, it's surprising to me that this was a 6-6 football team. And James MacPherson at quarterback, been really impressed with him. They completely have Oregon on their heels. If you look at this game, I thought it started from the first series in the shotgun one play, quarterback draw, running the option. So many different variables to this offense right now. Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator at Oregon, I don't think he knows what's coming next. Wake Forest is completely dominating the Oregon defense.
Well, I think the problem with the Oregon offense is alternating quarterbacks. I'm not a big guy to support changing quarterbacks all the time offensively, because if you're going to do it quarter by quarter. Don't do it series by series. I think Mike Bellotti did it early in this game. Kellen Clemens came back late in the second quarter, put points on the board, but still there's no continuity on offense for Oregon. You've got your running back Ontario Smith that's got the eye injury sitting out. That hurts this offense. I think he should stick with one quarterback in this game.
I tell you, Clemens made a big-time throw there on the goal line to get Oregon
Lucky
into
throw.
the end zone, just before the half. And it is a 21-10 game at the break. Coming up on the halftime report, we'll take you down to Music City, where Thomas Tapé carved up some Razorbacks. You know, they serve ribs in Memphis.
We are back in Seattle, just about set for third quarter action. And what is going on here? Wake Forest leading Oregon 21-10 at the break. Happy holidays, folks. So we approach 2003. Steve Levy along with Rod Gilmore. Thoughts from Alex Flanagan in just a little bit. If, in fact, Oregon needed a wake-up call, they got it early from Wake Forest, but the Ducks came on late in the first half, Rod.
They did, and it was really because of Kellen Clemens, who came on in relief to do some nice things for them and move them down the field. But you have to be impressed with Wake Forest. They've thrown the ball only when they wanted to, and they've run it the entire first half. So their offense, unique, different, and has really kept Oregon off balance.
Clearly, the Ducks defense has been guessing, and as we open up the second half, they'll guess some more, because Wake Forest will get the football. Jared Siegel has it teed up at the 35. Fabian Davis and Chris Barclay are back for Wake Forest. 21-10 Wake to open up the second half. Low line drive kick. That'll take a bounce, and will bounce out of bounds, and there's the automatic flag. Let's look back at exactly what's taken place from our first half. Rod, ESPN's Game Track.
And no real surprise, I guess. Wake Forest, throwing the football. Big strikes at Jason Anderson to get them going. Ran the ball whenever they wanted, but then Clemens stepped in. Fastball, throwing it down around the goal line to get them a score, get them going to Sammy Parker. And Oregon showed signs of life, Steve, right before the half, and they're going to need to show some signs of life on defense if they're going to have a chance to get back in this ballgame all the way.
Open up a pretty good field position. Fabian Davis coming around, and for the first time all afternoon into the early evening, that play doesn't work. Kevin Mitchell and Dave Moretti weren't biting on it that time.
No, they weren't. And it was a thing they talked about with us. They said, hey, the one play we got to stop is the fly sweep or the orbit sweep. Got to keep our leverage outside. Don't get confused by the misdirection. They do a nice job of making sure that they are in position to turn it back inside.
Second down and 13. MacPherson rolling to his left, has been so successful throwing across his body, and he does it again to Jax Landfried. Very close to first down yardage. Let's mention Alex Flanagan, and here she is. Alex, take it away.
Well, Steve, as we've talked about, Wake Forest head coach Jim Grove is in his first bowl game, and you can really tell. I spent the half in the locker room with him. He gave a fiery halftime speech to his team, and then he stood at the front door, high-fived everyone, gave them a pat on the back as they went out. Very pleased, obviously, with how his team is doing, Steve.
Thank you, Alex. A handoff to Terrence Williams. Grove had Wake Forest eligible for a bowl game last season. They went 6-5, although they were bowl eligible. They just weren't invited as Wake Forest picks up the first down.
And that explains some of their motivation. I mean, he's in the second year of his program here. at Wake Forest. Last year, 6-5, didn't get the bowl bid. They get one this year. They're excited about it, and they're playing that way. And we've seen bowl week, teams that are excited about being in the bowl game play well.
Handed off to the first man through. It's Terrence Williams. Igor Olshansky made the stops. Grobe, one of just 5 coaches in school history to lead Wake Forest to a bowl game.
Well, one of the great things about him is that he's kept his staff together. He brought with him from Ohio the entire staff that he had there, and some guys he's coached with for a long time.
Second down and 8. Again, running that no huddle. Line up in the eye. A lot of things can happen out of it. Option pitch to Terrence Williams. Just across midfield. And he's in Oregon territory at the 49, stopped by Keith Lewis.
Well, you see what Jim Grobe has done in his career. He really learned an awful lot from Fisher to Barry at Air Force. That's where he started getting his handle on the offense he wanted to run. You know, their offensive line play, they do a lot of cut blocking. That's where they really kind of developed that, took that offense over to Ohio. He had a lot of success there. And here at Wake Forest, 2 seasons, chance for 2 winning years.
The 3 schools, his 3 most recent schools, all the top 10 of the nation in rushing offense. Air Force first, Wake 8th, and Ohio University 9th. It's Fabian Davis able to turn the corner. And he is, see where he stepped out. Looked like it was a 31, but they're going to say he stepped out actually at the 38. And again, Kevin Mitchell was there to push him out, but it's a gain of 10.
You always assign a guy to handle the fly sweep. Keith Lewis, number 16 in green, is going to show up in your screen to the right. He is supposed, there he is. He's supposed to run this down. He's got the bad angle, and he can't get to Davis. Davis with the great speed to the outside. That's tough. You're a free safety in the middle of the field, and you got to handle that thing.
Fabian Davis rushing 6 times, 63 yards. MacPherson going to air this one out. It's tipped. What a defensive play by Stephen Moore. Jax Landfried was thinking about his celebration dance in the end zone. That was an automatic 6, and Moore came out of nowhere to knock that one away.
Oh, and his boys back at Dorsey High School in Los Angeles are going, yep, that's our corner. That's the way we do it. We treat corners that way. Look at that. Gets the right hand in there. He was beaten, but he didn't give up. And corners have got to remember that. You got to stay alive in the play.
Close call there for that Oregon pass defense. Second down and 10. Does give the Ducks something to think about, though, Rod. Send Fabian Davis in motion. Hand it off to Terrence Williams up the middle. And he is finally brought down at the 30-yard line. Williams is not an explosive back for Wake Forest. In fact, coaching staff told us he might have 1 gain for 25 yards or more over the last 2 seasons, Rod.
Well, he doesn't need many more than that. You know, he's a pounder. He's a grinder. Not a big guy, but he'll get you 6, 7, 8. He's not going to run away from anybody. They don't need that.
Williams so far, 14 carries, 41 yards. His best run, a 9-yard gain. It's Williams again, and he has stepped into and driven back to the 31 by Kevin Mitchell, who's having himself a ball game so far.
No doubt about that. Kevin Mitchell stepped up and delivered a big-time hit. I mean, he may be the best player on this defense for Oregon. He's a linebacker, 5'11", 220. You'll see him step up right there, number 39. Watch him just scrape on over, get in the hole, bam. That's the way they taught him to do it at Modern Day High School. Remember Modern Day, number 2 team when he was there in the country. That's a big-time program.
So tell me, how did Kevin Mitchell get the nickname Mini? I mean, there is nothing mini about Kevin Mitchell. 5'11", about 220, and lays a stick on you. Very close to first down yardage. Looks like they're going to be just short. What a hit by Mitchell.
Mini.
I don't get it either.
Mini-me?
That's what it says in the media guide, Rod, and I believe everything that is written in the media guide. 4th and inches. We've seen a slew of 4th down plays with both teams going for it. This will be the 6th 4th down conversion attempt, and we're early in the 3rd quarter.
I love it. You're not playing for the national championship. Go ahead.
Handed off the first man through, Ovie Mughelli, and he's got the first down.
I wonder what Mughelli's dad thinks now. Now remember, Mughelli was born with the Nigerian name. His parents are from Nigeria. When they found out that he wanted to play football, they thought, soccer, right? What do you mean? You like to go out there and hit people and be hit? Well, he's turned out to be a pretty good football player.
The Wake coach has told us on the offense for the Deacons, he'd be the most likely player at this point to play in the NFL. Real prototypical fullback. Handed to Mughelli again. Grinding out another yard inside the 25.
Well, how good is Mughelli? He is so good that they changed the offense for him. And they used to run a lot of one-back, but he is such a devastating blocker. They had to find a way to get him on the field so he could block, and then they found out he had pretty good hands. So the NFL is finding out this guy is a guy who can play at the next level. He can run. You see the legs churning. He's got soft hands for making catches. And Wake Forest, very, very fortunate to have found him in this program.
Mughelli making his team best 33rd start in this game. He tied a school record. He had 4 touchdowns in the opening game at Northern Illinois. MacPherson going to put it up across the middle, and Fabian Davis juggled it first and could not hang on.
Now this is what Oregon wanted. They wanted to force Wake Forest to throw when they don't want to throw. And now facing a 3rd and long, this is when Nick Aliotti can do all of his things that he likes to do. He can mix up his coverages. He can decide where he's going to bring the pressure from. He couldn't do that on 1st down because of the run threat. Now he can.
3rd and 9 at the 25. Out of the shotgun. It's the 13th play of the drive. And somebody got MacPherson's attention from the sideline that time.
You better hurry. He's only got 4 seconds.
Able to get the snap off, running to his left and handing off to Chris Barclay, trying to go to his right. And that wasn't fooling anyone, especially Garrett Graham for Oregon. Graham considered the most intelligent player on that Ducks defense. Seemed like he knew that one was coming, Rod.
Yeah, maybe somebody tipped him off, but not the home crowd. I mean, it's not like they're the home team here when you're Oregon. Remember, they're playing in Seattle, the home of their arch enemy, I should say.
They have been booed just about every place they have been. Hockey game, basketball game, whatever. They're booing Oregon. Matt Wisnowski is out to attempt a 43-yard field goal. And he's got the distance, and it is good. A 41-yard field goal was his longest of the season, and that one is from 43. And Wake, they'll certainly take it. They add to their lead on this opening drive of the 3rd quarter.
Hey, Mom. How you doing, baby?
Wake Forest would have preferred 6, but they'll take 3. 9:37 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Not only they put the 3 points on the board, Rod, but they take about 5.5 off the clock.
And it was a statement drive. It came out with some emotion, some intensity. You knew Oregon would come out fired up. They came out and they took a little bit of the sting away from what Oregon had to bring.
Wisnowski would put it in the air. Allen Amundsen from the 2. Amundsen is going to be dropped at the 14. That's where they'll take over from. It's time for Alex to take over.
Hey, Steve, I talked to Coach Bellotti at the half, and he said that the quarterback position for the rest of this game by no means belongs to Kellen Clemens. But Coach Bellotti told me that at the half that Clemens will start because he has a hot hand right now. He also told me, though, that Fife is ready and waiting, available to go if that hot hand cools off, Steve.
All right, Alex, you can see Fife still has the helmet on. He's ready to go in at a moment's notice, but Kellen Clemens will lead them out onto the field for the opening possession of this 2nd half. Ontario Smith, Alex reported on his eye earlier in the 1st half. He, too, is in the football game. Clemens to throw on 1st down. The out to Howry, got it, no problem. It's 1st down yardage, and just like that, they'll move the chains.
Well, the corners play off a lot, and Keenan Howry will eat that up. Look at this. Look at all this room he has. You cannot give Keenan Howry that kind of room. This is a guy who's been a great performer throughout his career at Oregon, has had some big games, big career for him. I love watching him. He's only about 5'10", not the fastest guy, but precise routes, great hands.
Hand off to Ontario Smith. He's dropped for a loss on the play at the 25 by Darryl Shaw. And Ontario Smith, you can still see that left eye, Rod.
He's got the left eye, he's got the knee, and he's struggling so far in this ball game, at least in the second half, since he hasn't been out here very often. Most of those yards came in the first half early on. And then he watched the offense of Wake Forest an awful lot.
2nd down and 12. And the flag flies. And let's see.
Yeah, Ontario says that was his. That was his.
5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
He doesn't make many mistakes, but Ontario Smith was probably getting the ball here, and look at him leading. Just couldn't hold it. Couldn't hold it. Question is, though, will Ontario Smith go to the NFL, Steve? You think he'll be back next year?
Well, I wonder how much of it has to do with this game. If, in fact, that'll be a deciding factor in it all. Or does he have something to prove come next season? Maybe improve his draft position. Here's Clemens. Oh, and a big stick. He's able to complete the pass to Matt Floberg, and Brad White put a stick on him.
Oh, Brad White, transfer from Georgia. Boy, did he deliver one there. And this is one of those linebacker hits. You just know this is the linebacker hit. Once you hear it, it's a linebacker hit.
White is the top tackler on the squad. He had 24 tackles in one game against Navy, the most by a Demon Deacon defensive player since 1987. Brings up a 3rd down and 11. Out of the shotgun. Clemens. Blitz is picked up. Lofts one down the middle of the field, and the 2 closest players to it were Demon Deacon defenders. There is a flag on the play.
That ball was thrown well before Keenan Howery got out of his break, and I think he didn't expect the ball out there. I think Howery sort of gave up on it, and that ball was way overthrown.
The speed of the game is an issue for Kellen Clemens. Again, only threw 9 passes in 4 games during the regular season.
Yeah.
Figure things will slow down a little bit with more experience.
You're exactly right. And you saw the confidence start to grow for him the 3rd, 4th series he had late in the first half.
Here's Jose Arroyo. Driving Fabian Davis back to the 18. Davis stumbles and regains his balance. And if he would have broken that tackle, it would have been maybe 20 more yards. He's dropped at the 40 by Jerry Madsen, the backup middle linebacker. It's a 56-yard punt, 23-yard return. And as we head to commercial, look at the ferry on Puget Sound. The Seattle Bowl continues. Well, the players have been having a great time since they showed up in Seattle. They brought some smiles to some other people as well. The Wake Forest players had a chance to visit the children's wing at Swedish Hospital. All a part of the great bowl experience for both of these schools here in the Seattle area. Reaching out to the local in the community. On 2nd down, MacPherson again throwing across his body. Nearly picked off, was looking for Jax Landfried. Stephen Moore had the coverage.
That guy's had a day and a night. Started out, it was daylight. It's nighttime now.
MacPherson had some limited action in their final game, threw just 5 passes because of a shoulder injury. MacPherson, shoulder looks fine here, throwing down across the middle. And just too strong for Fabian Davis. Gibson was there on the coverage.
That is the only deep ball he's missed today. And this was a down in which they had to throw. He had pressure by Kevin Mitchell. And watch him run the post route. He's open inside. All you have to do is put that ball out there, let him run and get it. He threw it a little bit too high, a little too far.
Is that, I mean, that's a split second, Rod, right? He holds that ball another half second. That's a completion.
Just let him run to it. Get out a little further to it.
Again, trying to throw across. Like, fumbles the football. MacPherson coughed it up, and it's picked up by Chris Barclay. The true freshman coming up with a key play after MacPherson was hit and fumbled.
And that's Haloti Ngata that is down right now for Oregon, number 96. They're great freshman defensive lineman. He was one of the top defensive lineman recruit in the country coming out of Salt Lake City.
Ngata won the team's award for best first-year player, and Ngata's been dealing with a very difficult last couple of weeks. Here's Alex.
Steve, he absolutely has. His father passed away 19 days ago. He was a truck driver. His truck went off a freeway ramp and slid into a ditch, and his father passed away. Now, this is the first game that Haloti has ever played without his father here. 50 of his family, friends, and relatives are here to support him tonight, and the team is wearing T-shirts dedicated to his father, Salomon, who passed away, Steve. But got to imagine a very difficult game tonight for Haloti.
Solomon Ngata, I mean, Coach Bellotti was telling us about him. Just a great big man who would give you a bear hug upon the first time meeting you. That's kind of emotional, friendly kind of guy he was.
And Mike Bellotti and the entire staff really touched and hurt by this, and they have taken up the cause of they've got to get Ngata to the NFL because he's got to care for that family now.
Klockemeyer, the punt. Keenan Howery, the 30, 40, 50, trying to beat the punter, does, and he was taken down from behind at the 44-yard line. It's a good thing Brad White was there, or that would have been 6.
Well, he's had some great returns over his career. This is the last one. He's part of a senior class at Oregon that has done some phenomenal stuff, and this return is one of those phenomenal things. Look at him make a couple guys miss. He gets into the seam. Now he has a chance to go. It's just the punter buying enough time to allow someone else to come back, Brad White, and make the tackle.
Howery already #1 in school history in punt return yardage. In his career, he's got 4 punt returns for a touchdown. That'll go as a 42-yard return after a 53-yard punt. And so Oregon will take over in tremendous field position from the 43. Handed off to Ontario Smith, gives it back to Howery, cuts it inside, using the sideline, picks up a block, and he's caught from behind at the 5 by Quentin Williams. If you thought Howery was out of gas after the punt return, he's got plenty left in the tank.
Well, I think he didn't get into the end zone because he was a little winded. As a little trickeration, just the reverse. Oregon will do this when they get in the plus area on the field. Here it is. Fake the toss sweep, bring it around. Now watch the end of this. He's going to get a little tired right now. He can't run away from Quentin Williams. He's hanging on right there. That comes right after that punt return. I don't blame him for being a little winded.
36 yards on that last play. Oh, sure, now he needs a breather run?
Yeah.
Come on, we're right around the goal line here. It's 1st and goal from the 6. If this is a touchdown by Oregon, it'll belong to Howery whether he scores it or not. Clemens throwing, he threw it away. Good pressure by Brad White. Excellent coverage by that Wake Forest secondary.
And the book on the Oregon offense around the goal line is you'll get some option, and you'll get the tight end and the fullback in the pass routes.
Wait a second, a tendency by Oregon, Rod?
Just a slight one. You got to dig deep to find it. And this guy, Reister, is big around the goal line.
They self-scout themselves very well.
Yes, they do. They change a lot of those tendencies. You really got to dig to get anything that makes you think you can get a line on them.
Here's 2nd and goal. Hand off Ontario. Smith took the first hit and kept on ticking. Down to the 2. Karan Bracey brought him down.
Well, there's a change in tendency. You know, the isolation play inside. They normally run option down here. They go away from the option. They come with the ISO. You mentioned the self-scouting. That's a good example of it.
Ontario Smith, we asked him, who do you pattern yourself after? He said LT, and I'm like, Lawrence Taylor? How old were you?
Oh, come on, with Damian Tomlinson.
Damian Tomlinson.
Yeah, he said, that's my dog. That's my guy down there with the Chargers.
There's 3rd down and goal. Clemens will hand it off. It's Matt Floberg. Touchdown. The junior fullback from Portland, crashes through for his 3rd touchdown of the season. And things start to tighten up a little bit in the Seattle Bowl.
You talk about giving your fullbacks a bone. The Flowbird, typically a blocker, he gets a bone this time and carries that bone all the way into the end zone. And Clemens, I tell you, the difference between Clemens and Fife, besides the completion percentage right now, is the emotional reaction. He seems to fire these guys up. He's very demonstrative out there.
This might be the only way Fife gets on the field, holding for field goals and extra points. Brings it down for Jared Siegel, and he puts it through. You talk about tendencies, Matt Floberg, that's a goal line run. That is way out of character for the Ducks, but they'll take it. 5.5 to play in the 3rd quarter, and it's a 7-point game. 10 years ago tomorrow, these two schools met in the Independence Bowl, and Wake Forest roared back from behind to win 39-35. If anybody's coming back today, it'll be the Ducks of Oregon. It's 24-17, 5:39 left in this 3rd quarter.
2 straight impressive drives by Clemens, if you consider the one right before half and the first one this half.
Did Siegel swing and miss on that kickoff run?
You know, I thought it was the wind. I thought it got blown off a little bit. Remember how bad the wind was here the last few days? 60 miles an hour?
60 mile an hour.
Oh.
I was thinking that was the Charlie Brown thing as well. You know, you go to kick the football.
That's a Lucy thing. Lucy pulls the ball away.
Living on the water means always having them ready.
Yeah, that's what it was like a couple days ago. We got to town and 60 mile an hour winds met us, and I don't know about you, but I was holding on for dear life at the hotel.
The biggest storm in recent history, the day after Christmas. You said some 60 mile an hour winds wreaking havoc at the Seattle area. Another kickoff out of bounds. That's the reason for the flag.
That was a free kick out of bounds. Wake Forest will put the ball in play at the 35-yard line. First down.
The 35. All right, Rod, a little help here. She's a tennis star, a supermodel, an international phenomenon. She is Anna Kournikova. Now we'll take you on location for an inside look at her 2003 calendar shoot. A date with Anna. That's coming up tonight at 9 Eastern.
Why are you so mad with Anna?
She's a heck of an athlete. MacPherson stopped by Kevin Mitchell. And how did an Arizona quarterback wind up at Wake, Alex?
Well, Steve, as you guys know, he did not have a scholarship coming out of high school, so he and his father sat down, put together a tape. They made 40 copies of that tape, sent it out to, 40 copies, sent it out to 40 schools. Tape included highlights of a game, a couple shots of James just throwing, and Wake Forest saw it, and the rest is history, Steve.
Made his own SportsCenter highlight film. MacPherson nearly intercepted, was looking for land. Stephen Moore was there.
Just to follow up Alex's point on the tape that MacPherson made, he got a little help from Homer Smith, who was then working at Arizona. And Homer Smith is a legendary offensive mind, offensive genius. And Homer Smith liked him, but they decided not to recruit him at Arizona. Homer said, put together a tape, and look, put on some drills, put on a full game, and put on your best plays. That'll get you somewhere.
And MacPherson is even talking about maybe doing a similar tape to show the NFL people the senior quarterback. Waited nicely for that one. Is there a flag coming? There isn't. Terrence Williams out of the backfield was looking for the flag. Garrett Graham, the linebacker, had the coverage.
A change right now in the second half. Oregon on first down, better defense. So they're winning more on first down in the second half, forcing Wake Forest to throw the ball when Oregon wants them to throw it. That's been the change so far. They've taken away the run on first down by loading up the box, and their corners have played better on first down.
MacPherson all of a sudden has missed his last 6. That after starting 7 for 8. Ryan Plaquemire, they're in punt formation. Plaquemire will boot it out. Watch out for Keenan Howry. And there will not be a return this time. The ball will be down at the 21-yard line, 41-yard punt. This is the second annual Seattle Bowl. For the first time, it comes from brand spanking new Seahawks Stadium. There's 4:37 to play in the third quarter, and Wake Forest leads Oregon 24-17. It was 24-10 after the first half.
Wake Forest jumped out early. They threw the ball on first down. They got the running game going. They couldn't miss on any passes. They got up on Oregon, surprising them with their passing attack. Oregon struggled until they came in with Kellen Clemens at quarterback, replacing Jason Fife, and he's had 2 impressive drives in a row.
First down and 10 now. 5 to snap it for Kellen Clemens. Have we seen the last of Jason Fife? Pitch to the right to Ontario Smith. Bit of a high pitch. Smith had to bring it down, and then he is brought down himself at the 25 by Warren Braxton.
Well, I'm glad Ontario Smith is back out there, but Steve, I still haven't seen the change of direction. I haven't seen him stop, start, dart, cut, and go. We've seen him run straight ahead and make rounded cuts, but we haven't seen from him what he gave us the first part of the year before he hurt the knee. So I don't think the confidence is there right now.
Smith was 6th in the nation in rushing before injuring that knee in the 8th game against USC. Sat out the Stanford game. Intended for George Reister. The 6'3" tight end went up for it and couldn't bring it down. Eric King had the coverage. Smith sat out the Stanford game, returned at Washington State, decided it wasn't good enough, needed to have surgery, and he returns here for this game. 3rd and 6 upcoming.
And he's trying to decide whether he's going to leave Oregon after this game and go to the NFL and come back next year. And I think the injury will play a part of that. He may be concerned about being hurt next year and may want to leave.
3rd and 6 now. Wake showing pressure. They drop out of it. They rush 4. Here's Clemens throwing and incomplete. Looking for Jason Willis. Pretty good coverage on the play. Warren Braxton was there.
That was a hard thrown ball, and it was over the wrong shoulder, but it's still a catchable ball.
Jose Arroyo will come on 4th and 6 to punt it away. Plenty of football left. 3:50 left. Third quarter in a 7-point game. Arroyo is averaging 53 yards per punt. About 12 yards better than his regular season average. And he'll boot this one away. Fabian Davis waits for it. He'll take it at the 34. Trying to make the move, and all he bought himself was absorbing a big hit. Taken up by Justin Andrews, the redshirt freshman out of St. Pedro, California. We'll step out. 3:40 to play. Here in the third, Wake by 7. And if you thought fish tossing was the only Seattle tradition, you're wrong. Putting the lights up on the Space Needle around Christmas time, and a beautiful look at it there. One of the great landmarks in our country. There's no question where you are or what you're looking at when you see the Space Needle. It has to be Seattle. And this is Seahawks Stadium, and this is the Seattle Bowl. Wake Forest will look to add some points and take some time off the clock and try to shorten this game. 3:40 left in the third. They lead by 7. Off the option. Fabian Davis trying the right side. And he is crashed down at the 39-yard line. Of course, Oregon, they're no strangers to the Seattle area. They come here every other year to take on Washington, but Coach Pilati said it's more like a business trip then. You're in and out. They've been in for a long time here, Rod.
Oh, they have had it from the locals. They've been booed at the Sonics game, booed at a hockey game. They were even booed at practice. Some guy showed up wearing a sign that said 42-14 Huskies.
Handoff to Davis, trying the other side, and he coughed up the football. Did he get it back? David Moretti brought him down. Oregon says they have it. Let's see.
Yeah, they got it back.
Chris Barclay looked like he was able to recover. But back to that point, the reason they're treated that way, I mean, some of the Oregon players, the younger players, like, hey, why are they all over us here in Seattle? We're not playing Washington. And And nobody seems to explain the reason for the hate. It just is what it is.
It's gone on for a long time, and part of it goes back to when Rick Neuheisel was at Colorado and they played Oregon in the Cotton Bowl, and they did the fake field goal late in the game, and Bellotti and Neuheisel don't have, let's just say they don't send Christmas cards to each other.
I mean, the Oregon-Washington rivalry is near the Oregon-Oregon State rivalry, which says something right there.
To give you an example of it, when the wind was really bad the other day, Wake Forest got to practice at the Washington indoor facility, not Oregon.
Timeout is taken by MacPherson and Wake Forest. Come back. The Seattle Bowl rolls on after this. Back in Seattle, we mentioned how the locals have treated Oregon since they've been here, and we're not making this up either.
There's been a great deal of recognition of Oregon football here, probably positive and negative. I was surprised at the basketball games, at the hockey games, at various places that there was booing, flat out booing. And I said initially in jest that, boy, there are a lot of Wake Forest fans here, and knowing that there really are not, that it's Husky fans. And I guess, I don't know what that means. I guess they care a lot about us, and I guess caring is close to loving.
A sign of respect, I guess, Rod, when they boo you. If they didn't care, they wouldn't boo. Here's MacPherson. Wide open, has a man. It's Jason Anderson. Touchdown. For the second time tonight, that combination, MacPherson to Anderson, is lethal for Oregon, against Oregon. 63 yards that time.
And on a third long, that is just not supposed to happen.
Anderson's third catch for 157 yards, and now 2 touchdowns. Wow.
Who said Wake Forest couldn't throw the ball?
Not me. Late substitutions by both schools for the extra point attempt from Matt Wisnowski. Puts it through. MacPherson had missed on his previous 6 throws. That one was perfect. And Jason Anderson, he's just a sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina. What a bright future he has in this Wake Forest offense.
Oh, they got him with the old hitch and go, Steve. Take a look at this play. Jason Anderson does a nice job. He's here. He's going to come, stop, and then he's going to go. And watch what happens with the safety. The safety bites on the stop. Here you see him settle. Here he comes over. Stop and go. Oops. That's Aaron Gibson, who was playing in kind of a safety spot. They had 2 receivers to that side. Aaron Gibson bit on the hitch part of the hitch and go.
Perfect. Anderson last season was the first freshman to lead the team in receiving since 1978. He had 33 catches. And that puts Anderson over 1,000 yards for his career. A sophomore. And the kick. Allen Amundsen. And clearly Oregon needs something good to happen. Still on his feet is Amundsen. And he's near midfield. Wait a second. Did he fumble the football? They're going wild on the Wake sideline.
The Wake folks are calling for the fumble, but it looks like they're going to mark him down. Oh!
And there's the indication.
Wow.
Amundsen, a great return, negated, and that is the game's first turnover at a pivotal point in the game. Darryl Shaw, the junior from Bladenboro, North Carolina, was able to force the fumble on the kick return.
Well, he was fighting for extra yardage, and then I thought he was down on the play, and apparently the crowd thinks it's a bad call too. They just showed it on the big monitor here. There you see Amundsen right there. Look for the knee. He looks down, and the ball then comes out. That's not a good call.
He does look down, no question. And you can hear the crowd in the background. The first turnover of the game likely wasn't even a turnover. But it goes Wake's way.
Yeah, he is clearly down there. Then the ball comes down, and now it comes out a full beat later.
There's an injured player down on the field for Wake Forest. It's Terrence Williams as Mike Bellotti gives an earful to the officials.
Well, and Bellotti's got a good argument there. I mean, it's not going to get changed now. But he can make his point to the officials that they owe him one, that they messed up on that one, and he's owed one.
The officials are from the Western Athletic Conference. And it's been a very well officiated game to this point. Certainly well in the fact we've only had, I believe, 3 penalties in the football game.
Yeah, it's been a clean game.
And no turnovers.
Yeah, and you didn't have really any controversial discussions between coaches and officials. It's this one play now, which looks like it was a bad call.
And I'll tell you what, Rod, we've seen awful calls last couple days in the NFL. And this would appear to be a bad call here in the college game.
Yeah, you'll
Left
see
knee.
the knee is clearly down, and then he comes down. And now, even after he's down, it is a full beat before the ball squirts out.
That's a better look at it that time.
Yeah, well, and you're hearing more and more booing. It's not being shown in the stadium, but fans are looking around the stadium at monitors, Oregon fans, and booing the call.
Terrence Williams has been down for some time. He appears to be in some serious pain. The senior from Wilmington, North Carolina.
And remember, Steve, he had a broken foot that kept him out of many games the first part of the season. And he was just rounding into great form. When he goes down there, it looks like it's on the same leg that he had the issue with before.
His second cousin is actor-comedian Eddie Murphy, but nothing funny about what's going on the field right now. You mentioned Williams and the injury. Actually fell out of bed during the summer, and that is how he broke his foot. Missed the preseason, missed the first couple of games, and is the top rusher on this Wake Forest offense.
And that wasn't anything that was caused by contact. It looked like he went down after he tried to make a cut or to change directions, to stop. He kind of buckled when he went down. Watch him come through the line. Now, no one's going to touch him. It's right there, that left leg. He tried to plant and spin or cut, and that's when it seemed like he had a problem.
Second team all ACC last season, had a 1,000-yard rushing season. I mentioned he's leading the Deacons in rushing this season. It's a 3rd straight season he's done that for Wake Forest. And you never like to see the cart come out to take a player off. And you hear the applause. Tough way, and then you think about Williams is a senior, and that his final college experience will be going off the football field on a cart. A minute 36 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
That is really unfortunate. He is one of those seniors that's meant an awful lot to this team. He's going to graduate, communications major, and again, came back after the injury, really helped his team in the second half of the season.
Finished 4th in the ACC in rushing. Had a big game against Florida State. 149 yards rushing in that game. That was a 3rd 100-yard rushing game of the season. As for his efforts so far here tonight, 16 carries, 53 yards, and unfortunately, that's likely the way his college career will end. Clock is winding, 90 seconds to play, 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 6, 31-17 Wake Forest. MacPherson gonna hang on to it, didn't fool anybody. He's pushed back to the 45. Haloti Ngata was leading the charge for Oregon.
That is the quarterback trap that they run out of the shotgun formation. It's unusual to find an offense that runs so much out of the shotgun. I can't think of any other team in college football that does this kind of an offense or anything close to it.
3rd down and 8. Open out of the eye. Again, late substitution issues for Oregon. Looking rather disorganized. They get the timeout?
Looks like they did.
Ducks forced to use a timeout with 51 seconds left. Again, both schools have obviously had the big layoff. Oregon's last game was 5 weeks ago. Wake Forest's last game exactly 1 month ago. But that's something every team that plays in a bowl game deals with, usually a month-long layoff.
Well, and there's some good and bad with that. The bad, obviously, is the rust. The good is you get a chance to get back some of the players who may not have played for you earlier for a while. For example, you look at what happened on the side of Wake Forest for Calvin Pace and his bad leg. He wouldn't have had a chance of playing without that kind of a layoff.
Hey, we mentioned Oregon getting booed everywhere they go, including that basketball game. This was halftime of the Sonics and the Raptors game at Key. There's Jason Anderson of Wake Forest. Joey Forrester of Oregon. That was an air ball, Rod, I believe. And it was actually won by Oregon. The free throw contact. Here's MacPherson. Did he sneak it in there? He did. What a throw to Ray Thomas for a 1st down, 11-yard gain. What a throw by MacPherson.
Well, and the nice thing about it, MacPherson came off his first receiver. He was rolling to look for the out for Anderson. Anderson was covered, came back inside to find Thomas for a nice 1st down.
At the 41 now of Oregon. Looking for more. MacPherson hands it off to Chris Barclay. Takes it down to the 38-yard line. They won't have to run another play to end the 3rd quarter. And I would imagine they would try to shorten this game as much as possible.
Yeah, if you're Wake Forest, the 3rd quarter played out very well for you. You controlled the clock, you got some scores, you gave up one, but you're still in control.
Big opening drive in the 3rd quarter. Only got a field goal, but took 5.5 minutes off the clock. MacPherson so far 241 yards through the air. The 4th quarter is next. Wake is up 31-17. Come on back. Along with Rod Gilmore and Alex Flanagan, Steve Levy, and our outstanding ESPN college football crew, wishing you happy holidays from the Seattle Bowl as we open up 4th quarter action. Ovie Mughelli is the ball carrier. He is stopped by Junior Siavi'i.
Talk about a balanced offense prior to that play. 172 yards rushing and 241 yards passing. It's usually just the opposite for Wake Forest. They have turned it around to balance out their attack.
3rd and 5. Hand it off to Barclay. Looks like he's going to be shy of that 1st down marker, Rod. Bring up probably a 4th and 1.
I think they decided they were in 2-play territory when they went for that on 3rd down. Otherwise, they would have thrown the ball. And sure enough, they're lining up for the 4th down. How many 4th down plays have we seen in this ball game?
It's been a slew of them, Rod.
On both sides.
4th down and 3. This is not a gimme. Hand it off, 1st man through. Mughelli, forget about it. Not even close. And Oregon will take over on downs.
And when you try to go inside, you are attacking about 600 pounds of defensive tackles. Haloti Ngata is in there, and then Junior Siavi'i is in there as well. Igor Oshansky, he's a 300-pounder. You got 2 300-pounders at the tackle spot in there, trying to move them out of the way on a short yardage situation. Forget about it. There's another hair guy for you.
That's Ngata. Or rather, Siavi'i, I beg your pardon. Having flashbacks to the Hawaii Bowl, Rod. Has that game ended, by the way, yet? Is that game over yet? Ontario Smith, the ball carrier. And Smith trying to push the pile, see where they move, mark his forward progress. Probably give him the 35, actually the 34-yard line. Bring up a 2nd down and 9. Smith will come out of the game. Floberg is the single back behind Kellen Clemens. Looks like it's his the rest of the way. Clemens will throw. Incomplete. Jason Willis, nice grab at the 39-yard line. As far as Ontario Smith goes, will he stay or will he go? We put it to Mike Bellotti, the head coach.
I'd say they're probably 50-50 right now, and I think that's good, actually, considering. I think that we've had one fairly lengthy discussion about the situation, and I said, hey, I'll help you do whatever you think is best, and I'll be an advisor and a confidant, and I'll also present our side of it and see what we can do. And I think he's really looking at it both ways and trying to figure out there's a chance to come back and obviously be a special player in a special program and may help us win a national championship. He said that to me, and I said, sounds pretty good to me.
Batted up and in the air. George Reister was the intended target. Brad White was there, nearly intercepted.
Big third down play, and they did not go to Ontario Smith there.
Bring up a 4th and 2. They're not going to go for this one, Rod. What do you think?
I don't blame them here. In their own territory, you got time. You're down 2 scores. Almost 13 minutes to go. Yeah, kick the ball away.
Jose Arroyo is back at the 26. Good protection, plenty of time. What a punt this is. Fabian Davis back to the 10. A little stutter step dance. He's going to find himself in a whole row. Joey fumbled the football. And it's picked up by Wake Forest's Brad White. And White does exactly what you're supposed to do there, Rod. How many other college kids would have tried to pick that up and scoop it into the end zone? And White, which is exactly what the coaches told us, he does what you're supposed to do just about every single time. He pounces on the ball and turns it over to the offense.
Almost a disastrous turnover for Wake Forest. It's just Davis trying to get a little bit more, and he gets stripped there. Ball gets knocked out by Matt Floberg, who was on the special teams and plays fullback for them.
Handoff to Chris Barclay. Wake very fortunate, and they'll keep that clock moving. Second down from the 10. MacPherson out of the shotgun. Certainly doesn't mean they're going to pass it, as it's an inside handoff to Chris Barclay.
Steve, our game track bringing you up to speed on things. Second half, Keenan Howry just really got it going on an end around following a big punt return. Had set up Oregon in the second half, and then it was still MacPherson getting down the field to Jason Anderson. They have connected a couple of times with big scores.
3rd and 1. Hand it off to Fabian Davis coming around. And he is stopped short. Rasuli Webster of Oregon. The coaching staff of the Ducks told us Webster's got to have a big game defensively, and he just made a big play there.
That's his job. His job is to look for that reverse. Look for that fly sweep. If it's to the left, you go left and you make it. That time he was in the right position and stopped it on a big 3rd down. Now Oregon should get good field position.
Ryan Plakemeyer is standing at his 5. The always dangerous Keenan Howry now inching up, approaching the 45. Plakemeyer will get it away. High, spiraling kick. Howry dropping back to the 27 now. Out ahead of the 40, taking on some people, and he's dropped by Ray Thomas. We want to go back to our studio now, and here's Reese.
All right, Steve, some tragic news coming in about former University of Pittsburgh star JoJo Heath. The former standout defensive back who was on the Panthers national championship team in '76 was found dead this afternoon. His death has been ruled a homicide. It's not clear if anyone has been arrested in the case. Our sympathies go out to his family.
10:19 to go here in the 4th quarter. Second annual Seattle Bowl. In Oregon, time to get something going offensively. It's Kellen Clemens' show. He connects to Keenan Howry just across midfield. Jason Fife started the game, struggled. Clemens came on, was 12 of 14, but Rod since then has cooled off a bit, hitting now just 2 for his last 7 when you include that last completion.
And you see Fife on the sideline there. Does not look like he will be coming back. And remember, his buddy Joey Harrington told him, hey, hang in there, be fine, just do your thing and you'll be okay. I don't think either one of them expected him to be sitting this long.
2nd down and 1, just across midfield. Take the handoff, quick toss to Sammy Parker. He's got the 1st down, and he's slammed out at the 44.
Oregon doesn't have the biggest wide receivers, and that sometimes causes them a little bit of trouble when they face teams that give them press coverage. But Wake Forest doesn't do that, Steve. They tend to play off. They don't want to give up the big play. So Mike Bellotti will be content to hit the short passes in front of those corners when he has the opportunity.
On 1st down and 10. Clemens, good protection. Now break down around him. Ontario Smith on the dump off. And he just gets back to the line of scrimmage. Montique Sharp, big nose tackle, was there to make the play.
Yeah, that's not typical Ontario Smith. He usually shakes a guy like that. But I tell you, pace is starting to pick it up a little bit. Here you see him right there. Just going right over, bull rush, right over his guy. And actually, he gets a face mask. Guy he was up against grabbed his face mask. I think it was Mike Delagrange who pulled him down.
Reister in motion. Now they send Floberg in motion. And here's Clemens. And it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Calvin Pace again for at least the 2nd time in the game. Got his 6'6" frame up there and the wingspan to bat the ball down.
Yeah, not much of a rush here. Remember, he's just really kind of gingerly dealing with that leg, but he gets up high. And did you see the way he came down? He came down protecting that leg, that left leg. He does not come down on it. Comes down one leg on the right leg, the good leg.
See the numbers on Pace. Kind of a shame, Rod, but it's reality. He said, you know, all the business of NFL future, agents calling his hotel room, has kind of taken some of the fun out of what should be a fun time, his senior season and the whole bowl experience. Here's Reister. Oh, there was a big-time block on the far side. Jason Willis laid out one of the Wake Forest defenders, leaving an extra couple of yards for Reister.
See how good you're getting at this stuff all season long. Now you're looking away from the ball. You're picking up the block. This is great stuff, buddy.
That's second level, second tier blocking.
Who needs hockey? You got football.
I think he put a hit on Quentin Williams.
Yeah, Quentin Williams is a guy that they were trying to make a marked man, and you see that? There's the first hit, and then he comes in again. Jason Willis looks him up right there. Bam! Wow. Poor Quentin Williams.
A depleter, Rod. Not going to leave anything in the tank, Rod. Ontario Smith, the ball carrier.
That was another 4th down play. They're becoming so commonplace, Steve. It's hard to know that they're showing up.
In this game, 4th down plays are like 2nd down plays. There only been that many of them. That was the 7th time the two teams combined have gone for it on a 4th down play.
And you have to appreciate that. I mean, why not? I mean, this ball game, neither one is going to win the national championship. Take your chances, have some fun with it. Heck, entertain us too.
And they didn't get it. Wake Forest defense takes over. I mean, think about it. Oregon only went for it 12 times all season on 4th down. Kellen Brantley came up with a big hit on that 4th down, and it's been the phrase of the game. One of these two teams will take over on downs, and this time it's Wake.
That Oregon offensive line will be good next year. It's a young line that's been together all year, but a lot of sophomores in there.
Fabian Davis in motion. That time it's just a fake to him as they hand it off to Chris Barclay. Maybe a yard on the play, and that clock will wind down from 8.5 left. Here in the 4th, 31-17.
You think knocking off Oregon would not be a big deal for Wake Forest? This is a program that is trying to get up to that level where each and every year they can compete for bowls. This would be one of the biggest wins that program's had.
2nd and 8 upcoming. Inside handoff to Barclay. And he's out ahead to the 43. To put that in proper perspective, this is Wake's 6th bowl appearance since 1888. Oregon, they've been to 6 consecutive bowl games. I mean, that really spells it out for you, the difference in the programs.
Yeah, yes, it does. You know, there's no doubt about that. And Wake Forest, their style of play, so different from what you see. No huddle, hurry up, shotgun, run the ball, pass it as little as often.
Handoff. It's Barclay again, right into the middle of that Oregon line. They'll be shy of the first down. Junior Ovie Mughelli was able to make the stop. He was the first duck there.
There's another 4th down. And right now, Wake Forest is looking like they want to go for this. And Steve, this one I don't get. This one I don't get. You've got a 2-score lead. You got 7 minutes to go. You can salt away the game by punting.
And here comes the punt unit now, I think. Just trying to take as much time off the clock as possible. See if they even have to burn a timeout here, Rod. They've got 5 seconds to snap it away.
They're going to burn one.
And they're going to take the timeout with 1 second left. That might have been the set play. They max it out, the time taken off the clock. They've got 1 timeout left. 6:36 to go here in the 4th. Oregon's going to get the football. They trail by 14. Back for the final 6 minutes, 36 seconds of 4th quarter action. Oregon's going to get the football. Is Jason Fife just staying warm, Rod, or is he warming up to come into this game?
I think he's coming in. He took some snaps with the center, Dan Weaver. He practiced his drop back. To me, that means he's coming in. And also, Clemens has his helmet off.
Ryan Plaquemire puts it in the air from the 35. Another high spiraling kick. Keenan Howery will let it bounce. Let's see. Wake, did they get there? Let's see. Where are they going to spot that, Rod? Did you see the indication?
Well, the ball crossed the plane. He's
well, that was the touchback.
So it's going to the 20-yard line.
Very, very close. Jack Lanfried was there. It'll go as a 57-yard punt. Nearly stuck him at the 1.
But remember, it's not where you land. It's where the ball is. Does the ball break the plane? And apparently it did from that angle. So it's if the ball crossed the plane, and the official believed that it did.
And a break for Oregon. They're entitled to one. And it's going to be Kellen Clemens coming back onto the field, Rod.
Quite a surprise. The way that Fife was warming up, I thought he was heading on the field.
Here's Clemens, maybe his last shot with the football. Crossing pattern, that just behind Sammy Parker. It'll go as an incomplete pass. Warren Braxton was there. Quarterback comparison. Fife played the first 3 series, Rod, and that's been it.
Yeah.
He was scheduled for the first 2. They wound up at their own 1 to start the 3rd series, and so that's why Fife played that 3rd series.
I think you're right. They still haven't gotten the production out of the passing game that Mike Bellotti was looking for.
Here's Clemens, backside pressure, steps up, right into some more pressure, and he's going down at the 18. Roderick Stephen, the senior from Colonial Heights, Virginia, makes the sack.
And I think that sack was on Clemens. I think he stepped up a little bit too far. Once he stepped up to avoid the pressure, he could have held his ground and gotten rid of the ball. But watch what he does here. He's going to step up, and then he's going to step right up into it. Now, hold up right there. He kept moving forward.
Clemens throws. Wide open was Parker, and he's able to stay in bounds to the 42. That looked a little too easy, Rod.
Well, the Wake corners are afraid to be up close on the Oregon receivers. They are giving them a lot of room. They don't want to get beat deep. Parker, look at him. No one in the frame. You don't even see the corner until now. That's about a 7-yard cushion, 15 yards into the route. That's a lot of room.
7 and 15. That's 22. That was a 23-yard gain. Very close, right? Here's Clemens. Throwing and completing. George Reister, the big tight end, getting involved. He was the second leading receiver for the Ducks during the regular season with 36 catches and got the team award as their most improved player.
I like him a lot. He's a big-time player. He's about 250 pounds, soft hands. I think he's a great blocker. I mean, to me, this guy has big-time future written all over him.
Think about that position for Oregon. The last 5 Duck tight ends and 6 of the last 7 all played in the NFL. Clemens had to be throwing that away well over the head of Sammy Barclay. There's Fife still acting as a cheerleader for now. 5.5 to go in the 4th. 3rd down and 8.
And if you are Wake Forest, this is typically when they go to their 3-deep coverage. They want to make sure they don't give up a deep ball. They don't like the matchup with Parker and Howry. They're too quick, too fast.
2 receivers out to the right. Clemens looking to the left. He's belted. Loose football at the 35.
That was Dominic Anderson who came flying in, and Clemens never saw him, even though he didn't come from the blind side.
Somehow, Oregon got that football back. It'll go as an incomplete pass.
Oh, here he comes, left side of the screen here. You'll see him come clean. There is no sense at all by Clemens that he's coming. And they rule that an incomplete pass. Now the rule
forward.
Yep, that's the rule. Any motion forward, any voluntary motion forward, it's an incomplete pass.
4th and 8 and going forward at midfield, and why not? Here's Clemens, steps up and throws, and he skipped it short for Jason Willis. Would have had 1st down yardage.
Yeah, he had him out there. And how about Wake Forest mixing it up, bringing the pressure? Dominic Anderson once again coming on the blitz. Little zone blitz behind it, zone coverage behind the blitz so they wouldn't get beat deep. Forcing that throw, and Clemens did not get enough arm into it.
Rod, so impressed by Wake Forest. Only once all season did they win or lose consecutive games. Back in October on the 5th and the 12th, they won at Georgia Tech and beat Duke as well. After that, they alternated wins and losses. And Chris Barclay, the ball carrier there. And dating back to last season for Wake Forest, following their previous 8 losses, they've won the following game. And they did finish up this regular season with a loss, 32-14 at Maryland. So following the pattern would be a victory here in the Seattle Bowl.
Well, they play hard. They play a very physical style of offense.
Clock continues to wind, under 5 to play. 4 to snap it, and they do. Inside handoff to Barclay, got 1st down yardage, and he's taken on some people at the 27-yard line. People like Aaron Gibson, the freshman from Alta Loma, California. That'll move the chains. Fife continues to warm. 16-yard gain on the play. Send Davis in motion to the far side. Hand to the second man through. It's Chris Barclay. Kevin Mitchell makes the tackle.
Hey, Steve, let's go back and play. And you talked about the style, physical style. Watch the right side here. Watch the cut block by the Wake Forest offensive line. They will get in on the feet, the legs of the Oregon defensive linemen. Now, a lot of people have a problem with the cut block in there because it can lead to injury. It's not illegal. It's not a cut block. But it is something that I think is one of those rules that should be changed because it is dangerous. 2nd and 7 now.
Be surprised if they don't take that play clock down to 2 or 3 every single time. 7, 6, you see it beneath the game clock, and with 5, they do snap it. And Barclay, the ball carrier. The unfortunate part for Wake Forest, he was out of bounds. That'll stop the clock.
They are running this football against a pretty good run defense. Oregon will put as many as 9 guys in the box and expose their corners to make sure you can't run the ball against them. They were ranked 15th in rush defense, and that's the best for them since 1989. And Wake Forest just ripping them apart on the ground.
Barclay, 4 consecutive carries for 33 yards. And again, they'll milk the play clock. Down to 2 when they snap it. Barclay will try the right side. And he bangs down to the 10-yard line. Rasuli Webster made the stop. This is the last television game for our broadcast crew. We've worked with a variety of different, very, very fine technical people. And our thanks to them. Spotters throughout the season, Bill Garrity and Kim Anderson, helping us the stats, the legendary Marty Aronoff, and Ben Shots on Goal Clock Boma.
And we have gotten some of the best camera shots around for you this season.
And our thanks to everyone throughout the season that have taken such good care of Rod, Alex, and myself, including Renee Hadalid, our fine stage manager.
When you're a senior, you want to finish it up. Even if you had an injury, Calvin Pace was going to finish off this season. No matter that he was coming back from a broken leg, he played the entire ball game, limping around to try and make plays. He got in, he created some havoc, knocking balls down, forced double teams, allowed other guys to make plays, and that young man will be an NFL draft pick next fall.
2nd down and 8 from the 10. Pace, who's going to come up shy of the school sack record, said, you know what, I'm most proud of the fact I'm going to play in 2 bowl games at Wake Forest. That tells you what Pace is all about.
False start.
Flags fly, the false start. Now stop the clock with 3:07 to play.
You weren't sure he was going to play because when we talked to him, he seemed to be very concerned about having that injury, and he had never been hurt before.
He said it was really waning on him, on his mind, that he was thinking about it more mental than it was physical. But again, most proud of the fact he's playing in 2 bowl games at Demon Deacon. And again, this is only the 6th bowl appearance for Wake Forest since 1888. Hand off to Barclay, who's carried the mail ever since the injury to senior Terrence Williams.
Now, you got to remember what Wake Forest is doing here. They are knocking off one of the top programs in the Pac-10. And you're talking about Mike Bellotti, a coach who is a phenomenal guy, and this could be huge for Wake Forest. 31-17, 3 minutes to go. We'll be back.
A lot of love back to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the home of the very proud Demon Deacons. The ACC, Rod, you know, it's not just dominated by Florida State anymore. Maryland last season might be a new player in the ACC. Chris Barclay into the end zone for the touchdown. And this is going to look pretty impressive in the newspaper tomorrow, Rod.
Hey, it's going to look pretty impressive next year as well when they look back on this season and they have a notch in their belt, a win against the mighty Oregon Ducks.
There's some love from the head coach for senior tight end Ray Thomas. Loading up the Gatorade is Matt Wisnowski. They're set for the extra point. And he puts it through. That was a drive of 44 yards on 7 plays. All Barclay runs. You want to talk about the future being bright. The true freshman from Louisville, Kentucky, getting it done that last one from 12 yards away for the touchdown.
Well, they cut everything off on the backside so you don't have any pursuit. That allows to make sure that he can get in there and to the end zone without the backside pursuit coming to get him. Front side blocking is very good, but again, the cut blocks on the backside prevent you from having pursuit to come and get Barclay.
Wake Forest has put up some 485 yards of offense. With 2:48 to play here in the fourth, the Deacons leading the Ducks of Oregon 38-17.
They've got the Gatorade loaded up now.
You know, we should point out in terms of accuracy, it looks like just ice water, Rod, but it's in a Gatorade tub.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep, that's nothing but water. Good old ice water.
Game time temperature was about 47 degrees, and it's a little chillier than that. It's a lot colder than that inside that Gatorade bucket.
Well, the trend continues. If you're a motivated team playing in the bowl week, you have a pretty good chance to win.
Kicked out of bounds for the flag. This is the second meeting all time between these two. The other meeting, 92, also a bowl game, the Independence Bowl. Oregon jumped out to a 22-10 halftime lead. And Wake Forest, though, would explode for 29 second-half points, capped off by John Leach's 6-yard touchdown. And Wake Forest beat Oregon by 4. Right now, they're up by 21. Look at the Wake Forest bowl history to this point. And rather impressive, looking to win their 3rd consecutive bowl game. Jason Fife is in at quarterback. Complete to Sammy Parker. Well, they say incomplete. Looked like Parker had it, but not long enough. Braxton put a pretty good lick on him.
I was going to say, he had the ball for a moment, then Braxton had him. That'll make the ball come out.
Tough spot for Jason Fife, the starter all season, and now he finds himself really in mop-up time, Rod.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a pretty good battle in Oregon in the spring for the quarterback spot. They're not used to having battles. They're used to having a guy.
Joey Harrington, of course, the guy by a long shot prior to this season. That ball is tipped up in the air. That one off the hands of Jason Willis. Monteque Sharp had the pressure, and right now, a couple of plays in a row, the players aren't making plays for Fife. A couple of catchable balls.
Yeah, you mentioned Harrington. There's A.J. Feely, Akili Smith. You go back a ways, you can find Bill Musgrave, Chris Miller, and of course Dan Fouts and Norm Van Brockman. A rich history, rich tradition of quarterbacks at Oregon.
3rd and 10 upcoming, 2.5 to play in the fourth. A date with Anna is coming up next here on ESPN. It's not a new reality show, folks. Here's Fife, hit as he throws, and that'll be incomplete. Again, a date with Anna. Don't call up. Don't need to send postcards. You can't win a date with Anna Kournikova. It's a date in terms of her calendar.
All right, we got it. Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. Good.
Believe me, if I wasn't rushing to the airport, Rob,
we can catch it in the airport.
Might just tune in, yeah.
We'll get a little bit over there. We'll watch some of that.
4th and 10 is upcoming.
Hey, you know, I want to touch on one thing about Oregon. That's Mike Bellotti. I mean, he told us he's going to be at Oregon a while. Remember, this is a guy who could have gone to USC and Ohio State, and his son is going to be a freshman at Oregon next year, so he says he's not going anywhere.
Good for 4 or 5 more years. That'll be good news in Eugene. On 4th and 10. Fife on the run. And he's taken some people on, takes a couple of shots there. Well shy of the first down marker. Quentin Williams was the first man to put the stick on Fife.
A little frustration there because you need to throw the ball down the field. But Jason Fife, sitting on the sideline most of this ball game, a little frustrated, took off, and then lowered the boom on a defensive back. He wanted to get out a little aggression there. And you have to feel for that young man. I mean, 12 games, he was the starter for Oregon. And they come into this bowl game, he gets the first 3 series, and then he's done for the day, essentially.
Wake Forest will take over at their own 42-yard line. Corey Randolph is in at quarterback. Give a breather to James MacPherson.
2002 Seattle Bowl. Brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. And by Capital One, who asks, what's in your wallet?
Say, Wake Forest enjoying themselves, Rod. And there was the shower. I'm not sure Jim Grove enjoyed that exactly. Minute 40 to play in the football game. Handed off to the first man through. It's Chris Barclay to the 40. Oregon cannot stop the clock. Our Capital One player of the game. Is there any doubt? Senior quarterback James MacPherson had himself a ball game. Started red hot, Rod. 6 of his first 7. Goes 9 of 16 for the game. A couple of scores. Really good with the deep ball for 241 yards, a season best. And he talked about sending tapes to colleges. Might not have to put together a tape, Rod. Just hand over the Seattle Bowl.
Yeah, just, you know, TiVo this thing on out to the NFL.
On 3rd down and 5. Nick Burney, you'll get the carry.
Besides the deep ball, he came out early in the ball game and made throws on 1st down that got Oregon on their heels defensively, and it opened up the running game. So he was the key not only to the passing game, but the running game as well.
And interesting, with so much talk about the other team's 2 quarterbacks, Wake Forest, a running offense against a top-notch run defense like Oregon. The Ducks' problems have been in the pass defense, and MacPherson and Wake Forest able to exploit that. 23 seconds left. The play clock had expired.
I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom, Dad.
They'll take the delay of game, push it back 5 yards, and they won't have to run another play.
Gonna be a,
or we'll just take a knee.
Yeah, it'll be a nice flight back home for those guys.
And Oregon, of course, much closer, a quickie flight or about a 4-hour bus ride, depending upon your mode of transportation. This will be tough to swallow. As David Moretti of Oregon said, a loss here would be a bad end to a season with a bad end, and that's the way it'll end. Congratulations to Jim Grove, his first bowl game as a head coach, and to Wake Forest for polishing off Oregon, and they do so in a big way. 38-17 is the final in the Seattle Bowl. A Date with Anna is coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, your home for college football on the internet. For Rod Gilmore and Alex Flanagan and our entire crew, this is Steve Levy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy holidays from Seattle.